Hello, welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews podcast number 14.
Number 14!
I'm Gary.
I'm sat here in the nude.
And I'm Andy, very confused now. And slightly worried.
Well done, Ian, well
Just
done.
throw it off right off the bat. You know, I've got to keep it fresh.
You'd think I'd be used to these by now, but
Yeah, I
never
did
am.
Gets us every time.
Yeah.
And so in this podcast, we're going to be catching up on recent film and TV and games we've been playing.
Yep.
We're going to talk about film, TV and game news.
Yep.
The main theme of this podcast is going to be wrestling.
It's the Royal Rumble, Gary!
to me,
It's the Royal Rumble!
Sorry, Ian, I didn't realise you were going to get that excited.
I'm excited.
And of
Wait
course,
until it actually sits, man.
we'll be answering your questions.
Yes.
So first off, I didn't get to the cinema half as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
3 billboards I haven't had a chance to see yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet? I was
Darkest
hoping you'd
Hour,
talk
I
about
still
it.
haven't seen it yet.
Is it very dark?
Very, very dark.
Very dark.
Is
yeah.
it
It's
1
an
hour long?
Yeah, it's an hour
No,
long.
it's very long.
Live.
Shit,
Yeah.
Like that,
Oh,
like
sorry.
that 8 years in Tibet.
Oh.
That's like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. But I did catch Jumanji.
I saw
You know,
that
it
too.
was a point where I was just like, I'd finished playing video games with everyone, and it was about 9:30 in the evening, and I was like, I just want something stupid to watch that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I'm just going to go down to the cinema and watch Jumanji. And
You could have watched
yeah,
an Adam Sandler movie.
It was no.
What, Jumanji was? No.
No, Jumanji was, it was adequate for a
Serviceable.
remake, sequel, reboot, whatever you
Didn't
want
lay
to
the
call it.
smackdown on you?
You know, I thought Jack Black was good, and I thought The
Jack
Rock
Black's
was
good.
fantastic.
I thought Jack Black stole the show, to be fair.
Yes, yeah.
In a movie with The Rock and
Him
Kevin
and The
Hart.
Rock were just
Yeah.
were just so good, so
he's
good. They
really
sold me on the film.
See,
Yeah,
now for
so-
me, I was a bit not sure about the whole teens finding a
was I.
video game,
Yeah.
going into the jungle. But I did like the idea of them becoming different people. And when you realise that
they play characters in
yeah,
the
like the
game.
blonde bimbo teen, she becomes Jack Black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to see Jack
But
Black
he does it
be
so
a 14-year-old
You know
girl.
what, to be fair, they deal with the whole it was a board game, now it's a video game very
Yeah.
well in it. And to be fair, it is because like you said, a lot of people are prequel remakes it. It's a sequel. It's a direct sequel.
Direct
But why
sequel.
didn't they call it Jumanji 2?
Because
Why
that
didn't
ruins
they do
it. That would ruin it. If you
Well, I
could,
don't
you
know, I
stick a
think it's
2
been
on
long
anything
enough.
nowadays.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just be
Just
like,
reboot it. Yeah.
It's just so it's that's why it's hard to crash.
Jumanji, this is gonna megabyte or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds so gay.
That's obviously why I don't work for a studio.
So one of the reasons why I needed to go and watch a fun film was because I finally caught up with The Walking Dead. I think it's season 8, part 1.
Yeah.
Right,
Now
yeah.
I'm not going to go into major spoilers, but
Yeah, don't, because I have only just done the 3rd episode of season
Okay.
8. Well, no, at the
yeah.
point of this recording, I've only done the 3rd episode. Obviously, I would see maybe 4 and 5 by the time it goes up. Well,
now a lot
What
of
are you
people,
gonna say?
a lot
What
of
are you gonna
people that
say?
I've spoken to have already tuned out. I'm like, how
Oh.
far did you get? And they're like, oh, season 2.
Fuck
oh,
'em.
season 5.
Fuck 'em.
Oh, season 6. The writing so terrible.
Oh.
And I'm still gripped. You know
Yeah.
how much I love
Yes.
Fear the Walking Dead.
yeah.
But The Walking Dead, since introducing Negan, I'm hooked.
It's amazing.
I love the character.
Yeah.
But they've basically majorly deviating from the comic material now. No. They've been walking fine lines back and forth over it.
Yes, yes, I'll agree
But
with
now
that.
they have made a decision to go way offline.
Okay.
In a fundamental way, which will completely change the show.
Right.
It's,
as a fan of the show and a fan of the comic books, I've tried to keep up to date with the comic books, but from the very start of the Walking Dead TV show,
Yeah.
it was different than the comic books for me.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, but it followed a certain.
Yeah,
you know,
yes,
I mean, okay, yeah,
I
because there's like.
I know
kind
where
of
you're
like,
going.
I mean, spoilers. Shane dies in like the first book, and
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
obviously they
Get
kept
that.
that character going. Daryl doesn't.
But I
exist.
always
Right.
argued.
Comics, you know.
I always,
Carol doesn't exist. She
I-
died in the first.
I always
Exactly, yeah.
argued. But I always
Started
argued
in
the
prison,
fact that
didn't
if you know what's going to happen, like with Game of Thrones, you know what's going to happen in Game of Thrones. So by reading the last
don't.
book, well, for everybody else, by reading the last book, you already know what's going to happen in the last episode. By reading the first comic book of Walking Dead, you see what's going to happen over the course of 12 episodes in one season, and then another 12 episodes in season 2, and it keeps the stories fresh. So at this point, I'm not rushing into it like I used to, because I get a bit frustrated with the pauses.
Yeah, that's
So
why
many
I saved
pauses.
them all up and watched
Yeah.
them all
So
in
are
one
you
I've
go.
started
saying though
setting them
that
up.
you're unhappy that they've deviated from the comics? or-
I was just shocked. And watching that episode, after watching so much television, the signs are there. You know when you're a fan of a show when a character's going to die. I learned this from Joss Whedon.
Yeah,
you'd be watching an episode and you'd be like, no, this character's going to die this
Whedon
episode.
has prepared me for
Yes,
this.
exactly. And so when you watch other shows, you just know it's coming.
Yeah.
I'm watching the episode, I'm like, all the warning signs here for this character to die.
Right.
And they do.
Okay.
And I was just like, but that's, it's...
So, mate, when Glenn got his face smashed in, I was shocked.
Well, it was 2 years ago now?
Yes.
Last year? I don't know.
But when Abraham got his face smashed in at the same time, I was like, anybody can die.
Yes.
And they fundamentally
I think that's what they were going for.
They were going
totally.
for that.
Yeah, they did tell us that already.
So people, I've heard from people as well as you, who've come up to me and gone, "Oh my God, Walking Dead, they kill somebody up, but I can't tell you." And I'm like, if they hand me Daryl's head on a stick, I'm still happy.
They killed my
You're
favorite
sat here in a
character.
fucking Daryl fucking t-shirt and you're going to say that.
because anybody can die.
Yeah.
If you keep dragging the character out, they get
in Fear
stale.
the Walking Dead, my favourite character was killed off. And then the show got better. Yeah. It was like, it was weird. Well, that was, no, he wasn't in Fear the Walking Dead, but...
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And, they can kill Negan off.
So is that what made you want to go watch Jumanji, was it? Because you were like...
that was another reason.
I
need to be happy, yeah. Now, another dark show that I've just been watching, I know, I think Alexander on the Facebook page mentioned he was watching it. And after him saying he was watching it and enjoying it as well, I was like, okay, I'll definitely go check it out.
Okay.
And it's Dark. That's the name of the show. It's a Netflix series. And it's a family saga with the supernatural twist. And it's a German production set in a German town where the disappearance of 2 young children exposed the relationships amongst 4 families. But it's also time travel, black hole, mysteries, but the production values of the time travel of going from the different eras, from the 50s to the 80s to modern day, and then finding these bodies and then going, wow, he's dressed in a weird costume, but then characters
is it a
trying
German
to change.
Stranger Thing?
I felt like it was a German Stranger Things,
yeah,
but it's darker. But it's much darker. It has
That's why it's called dark,
sex, nudity. And I think the emotions are so much more real. The characters are so much more complex because you see their parents, their grandchildren, and then you see them as younger, and you see all the different elements.
So we're recommending Dark.
Oh hell yes! Can't wait. It's I've got the last episode to watch, so unless that episode makes me go, what the fuck, But up until that point, it's I've been hooked.
It'll finish on season 1 on a hook, and you'll be like, I need more.
Yes,
and then it'll be questionable if season 2 comes up.
Yeah, I need new a TV series.
It was very.
I've been mostly I haven't at the time I haven't had the inclination to watch a new series, so I've been watching a lot. I've been more going for films lately rather than series.
Yeah. It was just a case of just browsing through Netflix and then just going, nope.
Sometimes you just got to roll the dice.
True, you do indeed.
Netflix is your greenlit.
Yes, and the last TV show that I've been catching up with is Star Trek Discovery, which has just come back for part 2 of season 1.
Yeah,
has been renewed for a second season.
No good.
And spoilers. Right now,
but
yes, they did go in space, and no, they travelled to the mirror universe, and it's awesome. Really enjoying seeing the mirror universe, the dark side of everything, and seeing how I won't go into spoilers, but I'm just saying I'm still loving it. It's still really good.
Sweet. Okay.
Sweet.
What have you guys been catching up with?
Oh man, it's just been fucking back to work, haven't I?
Christmas
is over, and now it's just back to work and just doing normal shit.
Christmas is so done.
Backing on the editing, and then getting into work and just watching loads of. With the
Royal
Rumble coming up,
we've
just been watching,
sending each other years.
Yeah.
So
what you do,
if you read our message feeds to each other, it's just a series of years. The government would see it and be like, "What fucking weird code are they sending to each other?" And it's just like, I think I started. Didn't I say to you like, "I got nothing to do. Send me a year of a Royal Rumble to watch," and you're like, "Bam, 1992." Yeah. I'll be like, "Done."
I haven't actually even been watching the whole of the pay-per-view. I've just been watching that.
I've just watching
the Rumble match because some of the matches on there are just. When you see fucking the Bushwhackers, it's just filler. They have re-released Hawaii 5-0.
Do you know what?
Back on Sky One. It was coming. But funny enough, I missed the first episode, which I was a bit disheartened about.
How could you let that happen, Ian?
Because I was watching wrestling and editing. I knew it was coming around. Usually I pick it up, but I feel there's something about this season of Hawaii 5-0 that I'm not going to enjoy, because I caught the last 10 minutes of episode 2 and I was telling this to Gary. The episode, I believe, I only caught the last 10 minutes. McGarrett was chasing this criminal and he had a police dog. And they caught the guy and arrested him. And then they took the police dog to his partner's funeral. So I'm assuming that a cop who had this police dog as his partner was killed and the only witness to it was the dog. So McGarrett and 5-0 Task
I really want to
Force.
watch K9 with Jim Belushi.
Exactly. I'm sat there watching
Jerry
this.
Lee, search.
I'm watching the last 10 minutes of Hawaii 5-0 and I'm like, you basically took the story of K9 and Turner and Hooch and slapped it in the Hawaii 5-0 episode. I don't know if I like it or not. I have to watch the whole thing. So yeah.
That's why they have those cuts to people surfing in Waikiki. Because if you're ever like, this is going a bit weird, they're like, yeah, we're surfing. And you just forget, man, Hawaii's beautiful. And you get all about
I've seen so many
Carry on.
helicopters flying over the cityscape of Hawaii. I never have to go there. Because I'm just like, oh, it's so beautiful. Don't go to the slum area, though. That's where all the criminals are.
I know, but I went there when because I wanted to go to decline bail bonds to Dog Bounty shop, and I got there and no one was there. It was closed up because they were in their other one.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh shit. but I was just like, take a picture.
So what have you been watching, Andy?
Oh, dude, I've been watching loads of stuff. Like, do you know what? I watched Coco.
Okay, yeah.
With the kid, and it's
New Pixar
fantastic.
film. Yeah.
It is Pixar delivering.
They
man.
have
I love
insane.
the theme of it, and I need to watch it. I can't wait to watch
It's a beautiful movie, and I'd recommend anyone to watch it. In that way of like, oh, it's Pixar, watch it with my kid. Fuck it, watch it yourself. It's great. It's it's a wonderful movie. We also went to the cinema and I watched Ferdinand because John Cena is a bull. I'm down with it.
Yeah.
Man, it was
John
funny.
Cena's a bull?
Dude, it was funny. As in like I remember we were sat there in the cinema and me and the kid were sort of like, we're hunkered down and we always get a load of food and everything like that. And, you got to spoil the kid rotten and that when you go to the cinema.
His
And
kid,
she was
obviously,
like,
he hasn't just taken
yeah,
one.
not just a random child. And she's like, this looks really good. I can't wait for this. And I was just like, I just hope he ends up in a china shop at some point. Spoilers, he does.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then when it happened, my kid looked at me like,
Wait.
you predicted the movie.
So John Cena
As a bull,
as a bull
shop.
ends up in a china shop. Don't do it.
So he was inside.
Don't.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
What?
I know where he was going with that. So yeah, we watched a couple of those sort of like kids movies. We watched Jumanji as well, but I watched Killing of a Sacred Deer.
I've heard about this.
Man, I had to. The director is. I had to write it down. Yorgos Lanthimos, the Greek director. He also did The Lobster, which I really want to watch because I saw the synopsis and I was like, "This looks really
It
interesting."
sounds insane.
It's Colin Farrell, Nicole Kidman, and I'm not going to do any spoilers because if everyone should really watch this movie. But I'll just say it's about a surgeon and his wife and their children. And that's it. Just go watch it. Just watch
The
it.
less you know,
Yeah.
the more impact the film will
But
have.
it has got one of the most... the last 10 minutes of that movie is one of the most uncomfortable 10 minutes I've ever spent watching a film.
Yeah.
It's pure tooth dryer. Really like...
Yeah.
But phenomenal. Really good, really good performances. And then today I watched one of the greatest Nick Cage performances of all time. I watched Mom and Dad.
Wow.
And you were talking about
Yeah.
you watched the trailer.
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
I
Yes.
saw it today. And it is just
Mum and Dad was all
phenomenal.
there to talk about. Yes.
Oh God, man!
It's from the same directors that directed Crank 2,
Oh,
And
nice.
Spirit of
Yeah.
Vengeance,
and Spirit of Vengeance. Yes,
which, like the studio, I didn't finish.
I watched Spirit of Vengeance, and that
Ghost Rider for anyone who doesn't know.
Ghost Rider.
Right, yeah.
That pissing oil sequence really doesn't do the film justice. That's not even the best bit.
I
It's not even
tried
the good
to
bit.
like it,
The whole
but-
film is so fucking shit. Doesn't even make any
it's literally
sense.
not done. Like the effects aren't
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
isn't there a point where you
Yeah.
actually see the green screen? It's
Yes.
like it's crazy.
Yeah, it was so sloppy, but
Mom and Dad,
I do
mate,
like
is
their
so
style, and it seems like they just needed Nick Cage to
Be Nick
to
Cage.
be Nick
To
Cage.
be Nick
Dude,
Cage.
Mum and Dad's as well. It's got an amazing use of soundtrack in that movie. Like all jokes aside, like for what a crazy, watch the trailer if you haven't got a chance to watch it. I mean, it popped up on Showbox today, and as soon as it came up, I was like, oh, I'm watching
The
this.
trailer gives a few points away as to some of the twists that that do occur in the film.
You get an
but
idea of what it's about.
It's still just enough
but
to
it's-
make you go, I actually still want to watch
As soon
that.
as I watched it, and it was like, Nick Cage in The Crazies. I'm sold.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone put when I
sold.
brought the movie up to watch it as the movie poster, and it said like Home Alone on bath salts, and after I finished watching, I was like, oh my god, that's totally what it is. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got a fantastic use of the soundtrack. It's got some really like underlying themes to it as well, sort of like to do with parenthood and growing up in that kind of sort of like, you know, we were all young once, and now we've got all these responsibilities, and like you know, moving forward, we can't be like
And
we
you
were.
just want to kill your children.
And apparently, sometimes you just want to kill your fucking kids. Like,
I totally get it. I totally get it.
I know. But you know what? That's two movies. That and Killing of a Sacred Deer. At the end of both of them, I watched it today. Jessica's like, you know, watching something on TV and playing with her toys and stuff, and I was watching it. I was going around the house. I was watching it on my phone, and after it finished, I come and give her a big cuddle and a kiss. After I watched Killing of a Sacred Deer, it was like stupid o'clock at night because I was downstairs painting.
Yeah.
And it finished, and I was just like, oh. And I had to go upstairs, and like she was asleep. I had to just give her a little kiss. Like,
Daddy loves you.
Downstairs.
Yeah, I get it. I get that. I had the same thing with Mysterious Skin. As soon as I watched that, I was like, I have to remind myself that I love my child, and this is completely okay. And he has to understand the universe.
I'll watch a movie, and Jessica will get new toys. I'll be like, Daddy, you know, Daddy loves you,
Yes.
right? And she's like, yeah, just give me the thing.
I may shout at you, but it's for your own good, okay? Because I'm
I
trying to
remember your
protect you.
reaction to Barry Lyndon.
Oh,
You almost broke up in tears during the recording.
Barry Lyndon. Yeah, he it's like a 3-hour long movie, right? Set in fucking 14th century France or whatever. And he meets this woman, falls in love with her. They have a son, and the son really wants a horse, but he's obviously too small, and the horse is too big. But he sneaks out, and he gets thrown from the horse. And you just literally
Breaks
watch
his
this.
spine
Breaks
and
his
everything
spine,
else,
and he's slowly dying. You know, 14th century France, you know, fucking.
That's a death sentence.
Yeah, so he's just lying in this bed with his mum and dad. And
And his mum and dad are basically separated at this point.
But he's like, Mummy, will you and Daddy still be together when I'm done? Yes, of course. And Dad's fucking breaking. Yeah, weepage.
Yeah, I'm not watching that.
You should. It is funny in some places when he gets shot in the leg. That's
It's
funny.
funny in some places. Amongst all the childhood
Stanley
death, there's
Kubrick.
a bit of levity.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, same as Mum and Dad.
Oh, mate, Mum and Dad is hilarious from bell to bell. But yeah, other than that, I've been playing.
Oh, fuck. Flashback. Sorry, I'm going completely off tangent now.
Of course.
Do you remember that other movie called Mum and Dad we
Mate,
watched?
Mate,
dear.
No. Everyone needs to know this, because if you look for this, it's Mom and Dad.
Yes.
Mum and Dad is a very different fucking movie. That is a British horror movie that, again, won't say too much about it.
Don't fuck that shit.
Oh,
this woman's
alright,
working
sorry.
at a fucking airport. She goes back with this boy, this man, and this woman, or this young boy and girl.
It's a guy and his sister. It's a brother and sister that work there as well, and they're like, "Oh, you've missed your last bus home. Come home with us."
Yeah, and they just
And
bring
then
them- oh yeah.
It's the suburban horror story of.
But it's not even really
House of Horrors.
horrific, is it? We got to the
What
end
do
of
you
the
mean
movie.
it's not?
It's boring as fuck.
Okay, wait, stop. You saying it's not horrific? Now, I bought that because this is like a 10-year-old movie. I was working in Royal Bank of Scotland. At
Yeah,
the
you
time
bought
when
it the
came
same
out.
day as you
I
bought Be Kind Rewind.
Yeah, fucking 2 movies I should have never bought.
That movie's awesome.
So I bought Mum and Dad, watched it, took it into work. A mate of mine had said, like, "Oh, I wanted to watch that." I went, "Here's the DVD." He's like, "Great, I'll get it back to you tonight." No. Keep it. Or fucking give it to someone else. I don't ever want to watch that movie again.
Passing a curse along.
So
It was
fucking
that
brutal.
shit. It was that shit.
The guy fucks a heart.
Where did you get the heart from?
Yeah, because that's the question.
Where do you fuck it?
Was it? Yeah.
I don't, left or right bench, got it. No, but the point is he jerks off with a fucking heart.
It was the guy, yeah, because he was the guy.
It's
with
the guy
glasses
from,
fucking,
oh,
Love, Honor, Obey.
Love, Honor, and Obey is the
Honor,
best.
Obey,
Like
yeah.
he's been around.
Has he
for
been
years,
cast
but-
anything since that?
Probably not, for good reason.
Oh dear.
Anyway, this one's better with Nick Cage. In.
Yeah.
It's called Mom and Dad, right? Like, fuck.
Not to confuse anybody,
Don't
of
confuse.
course.
What's up next?
Okay, so now we're moving on to the first news segment, which is there's quite a lot to talk about relating to Mr. J.J. Abrams, who at this
Who's
moment
he
What's
again?
he been caught doing?
he's been caught creating a new TV series.
Oh, thank
Now
God.
I'm a partial fan of his TV shows. I was a big fan of Fringe, loved that show. Lost, I loved, then hated, and then grew
Like
to
all
just
of
be
us.
okay with
Accepted
it.
it.
Accepted it, yeah.
I was lost.
But he also did Alias, which was Man, Felicity, which I didn't even bother with.
Never heard of it.
But he's just signed on to be the producer for Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek movie.
Oh, because didn't Tarantino work for the Weinsteins?
I love that this is happening.
What, Tarantino and Star
I
Trek?
love that this
yes,
is
I
happening.
think it's... Well, I mean, it's still not really official, but it's just like all these people just keep...
Enough people keep talking about
I
it,
know.
dude.
It's-
will be like, well, apparently I'm doing a Star Trek series. Like, you know, or
Well,
movie.
I think he always said, didn't he was going to do 10 movies and that's it, he retires. And the one thing he's never done is sci-fi.
Yeah. Plus,
And
we
so-
got the Lost one, didn't we? The script came out and he cancelled it and
Was-
he did a reading and
Was
stuff.
Hateful Eight his 8th movie?
I think so.
Couldn't say.
His 9th one that
Someone will say in the comments
he's doing
for sure.
right now is... I'm not sure, it's based on the Manson murders, that's it. in
Oh, yeah, it follows a
1969.
celebrity
Oh,
around
dude,
about
you
the
know
time.
who's casting for that? There was some
DiCaprio's
interesting-
been cast.
Yeah, man.
But Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt are also looking to get involved.
But the
Michael
Manson
Robbie's
the
been
Manson
cast.
killing's like a
Oh,
backdrop.
Margot
It's a
It's
backdrop
about
to
like a
it.
failing movie
Yes.
exec. And
Yes,
Manson, yeah,
but it's
man.
during that period of time, so everyone being affected by
He's
it.
going to base it
You
on...
know, like
He's
with
going to base it on
Tarantino.
Roman Polanski's story.
You think?
Yeah.
Or is that what they said? Or?
No, but if it's set around the Charlie Manson murders, Sharon Tate was murdered at that time.
Yeah.
You know, Roman Polanski was in another country, and 2 years after that would go and do that dodgy thing with the 13-year-old. So I wouldn't say
That's
I won't say Roman
mildly
Polanski was
putting it.
failing, but if Tarantino decides, oh yeah, you know, that's a great basis for my
Period.
story
Yeah.
of this failing executive to deal with all this shit going on.
Yeah, cool. I didn't look into that deep. I just heard DiCaprio and Tarantino. And I was like, in.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
well, he was there in Django
Django
Unchained.
Jade, yeah,
So yeah.
he's good.
But also back to J.J. Abrams, Cloverfield 3 is apparently it's due out this year,
Sweet.
and I think it's the prequel. Essentially, it's how Cloverfield ended up on Earth. That's my guess, and a lot of theories to it.
I
as
still
well.
haven't seen
It's
10
a bunch of
Cloverfield Lane.
scientists on a space satellite, and they're trying to contain something that's going to break out. And that's, I think, in the footage of Cloverfield, you see some debris fall from the sky and land in the ocean. And I think
They have
that's
that last
where-
shot, don't they?
That's
where
it,
where
yes.
she's on the Ferris wheel or something, and it comes
and something
down,
crashes down, and that's whatever's come from the satellite.
Oh,
will
that's
be in
fucking
this
cool,
new
man. If
film.
they tie
That's
it
the
in
thing.
like that. That's great.
And 10 Cloverfield Lane is the middle film.
I love it when
essentially.
films do it. Do you know what rewatched recently?
Even though they're all totally unrelated.
Is, getting ready for the fourth one as I rewatched the Insidious series because they're like
Okay.
my little guilty pleasure.
Right.
And by the time you've watched all three of them, whether it was planned, whether it wasn't, they tie in all these little moments from even going back to the first film where they've seen someone's outside, and then by the third one you find out it was like the dad in the further was there and stuff like that. So I love it when movies do that, when they tie stuff in.
Yeah. So next bit of film news is Creed 2. I'm getting excited even more so for it because
casting news.
So they
They-
say
they-
Creed
my
1.
word.
casting news. I'm not a big boxer, and so they're not casting actors for these boxer roles. So they've cast Florian Montinu. I'm terrible
Okay.
with names, but I don't know who this. He's a boxer,
Right.
Who's
and
he cast as?
Ivan Drago's son. It's
Oh,
official.
shit,
That
really? Is that
storyline is
official?
being
Because
done.
it was going to be Lesnar.
It's not
Brock
Lesnar.
Lesnar was in talks for it, and I was like,
He's not playing Ivan Drago's son. He's not. They've
I'll
cast
have
an
to
actual
Google who
boxer.
that is.
But
I don't follow boxing anymore. So
his nickname in boxing is the Big Nasty. So he's
as long as Dolph Lundgren's in it as Ivan Drago.
that's the next bit of news. Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren are returning in Creed 2. Oh my god, I cannot wait for this. This is
This is going to be so interesting to see how they play this off, because it can't be like a grudge match thing in a way, because sorry. It can from Creed's side, because he's like, your dad killed my dad.
Yeah, but
The other guy is going to be like, your trainer beat my dad, so it's like how it's interesting to see how they're going to work that into
They'll work
the
it.
reason for them fighting.
they'll work it just like that though. Creed will be, wanting to go up against this rising Russian star, and have the flashbacks of his dad being killed by him and be like, this is all about revenge. And then you'll start to see the story from the Russian guy where he has actually had a tough upbringing. And this is like his way out. This is how he can help his family.
He's probably
and
got
it'll come down. It'll come down to them. I bet 15 rounds, and then they'll both still be standing, bloody, beaten. You'll be on the edge like, fuck.
He's got to win in this one.
No,
He's
but
gotta-
they
he's gotta
will.
win.
No, but he will win by the judge's decision. But Creed will have respect for this guy and realise that obviously all the animosity is lost because this is what they do. They're
Do you
boxers.
think we'll get Bridget Nielsen back?
Is she still alive?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So I said that, and I was like, my brain was like, is she still alive?
That's weird.
Answer in the comments. Answer in the comments.
Somebody let us know that John Carpenter is still alive. Yeah, somebody accidentally reported that he was dead.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes fucking put up that he would have been 70. And so he tweeted
and so John Carpenter was like, hey, wait a minute.
He would have been. I'm fucking sat here eating cake. Just blew the candle out, motherfucker.
So next news story is that John Wick, the TV series, is getting the go-ahead.
With Keanu as a
Keanu
producer.
Reeves is...
And potential cameos.
Exactly, potential cameos. Now, I think it's going to happen.
Is it called The Continental?
That's right, that's what it's called.
One of my favourite things about those two movies, because I love those two movies, is just the idea of the fraternity of assassins, the Continental, the hotel, the whole structure around it.
They did that in Wanted.
But it's different, isn't it? No. They did that in Wanted because that's how they always do it. It's always a guild of assassins, whatever you want to call it. But
not in Leon.
Well, no, but that's how they do it in this one, isn't it? But the Continental and everything, and the hotel and the whole idea around it is amazing, and they really went deep into it in John Wick 2. So I'm all down for this series.
But for me, John Wick 2 just got silly. It got farcical. So
but how many times can you get mad about a
tone
dog?
it back a little bit. No, I mean it was the universe that they built, which for me was the farcical part.
Yeah, but it'll be episodic.
There were so many assassins in that guild that it was just stupid.
It'll be him before he met his wife, so it'll be him as a cold-blooded killer going around.
It's not going to be John Wick. It's not about John Wick.
He just said he might cameo.
Yeah, because he exists in this universe.
You can see it's just it'll just
follow contract killers in the hotel. All right, so it's like American Horror Story but with assassins.
I guess so, yeah. And whether they, their targets, I guess.
Yeah, and the targets and the people they're dealing with. And are they bad or not? This guy's a child molester, but he's saving children in Africa as well. Shoot him in the face.
Probably not, though.
Yeah, just shoot him in the head. Is Kevin Spacey going to cameo?
Wait, where are we at? 27 minutes.
I had one at the 4-minute mark, but I thought it was too early.
Well done, Ian.
Thank you.
For anyone who's going to play a drinking game, somebody did suggest taking one every time Ian said.
I replied to him and I was like, we'd
all be dead already.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I can start if you want.
He starts before we start recording. He's like, right, let me run these horrible Kevin Spacey references by you and you give me a green light, okay? Ready? 1. And he starts rattling them off.
No, maybe, no.
Maybe with context.
I don't know if you've got it on there, but just in case you haven't got it on there, have you seen the new fucking Day of the Dead movie that's been released?
Oh no, I looked at it and I just looked at it and I looked at one still image for it and I was just like, why the fuck? Oh, there's so many Day of the Dead fucking movies.
I had to watch it. It was morbid curiosity.
Did you watch it all the way through?
I watched all of it. I watched every second of it.
Is it a complete rip-off of the original Day of the Dead?
Okay, well look, alright. The word rip-off, it is
scientists and soldiers and a woman on the ground.
They have remade it. It's a complete we want to make a version of Day of the Dead. But the thing is you've got the all right. I'm gonna fucking fail a nerd test. The original fucking intelligent zombie Bub. Bub. Yeah.
Bob.
So I was fucking one vowel. Calm down. So in this, there's a guy called Max. It starts. Spoilers. Sorry. She.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
But so the fucking scientist, the doctor is taking blood from this guy who keeps coming to see her. This guy called Max, who's infatuated with her and basically tries to rape her, and he gets locked in the fucking meat locker and stuff. And then the apocalypse kicks off, and then years later, they're in the bunker, and it's little girl's got this fucking disease, and we need blood. And she's like, I know where we can get some blood. We'll go back to where I was a medical student. So they go there, and guess who's still there?
Still locked in the meat freezer.
Still there, still alive, dude. Not lost. I tell you what, he's a pretty big guy. Not lost an ounce of muscle. Guy's got gains, and he fucking follows her back, and I tell you what, this is the Metal Gear Solid of fucking zombies, because he fucking infiltrates this base like a pro, and he keeps, obviously fucking. Bloodbath ensues, and they eventually. If you've seen the trailer, you see eventually they lock him up. And she starts to, but he won't bite her, but he keeps getting to her and grabbing her, and I'm like, you're watching it is he gonna try and zombie rape her? Because that was his motive,
right?
But he's not biting her. But he's just kind of rubbing against her and stuff, and it's just really fucking stupid.
We're gonna have to review that.
Oh, no, we don't.
It's almost the audio is really terrible, and it's almost dubbed and stuff. It's just
it's really poor production.
Yeah. It's a dick kick of a movie, but
yeah.
But
I knew that
almost like a kind of because they're trying to do this homage to the original, you can kind of like, all right, you
Yeah.
try to
Tried.
like get all the beats in
True.
there, and
Yes. Yeah.
When I saw the
Solid
trailer,
9.
I was like,
Solid
this
9.
looks like a complete fucking shit remake. But then compared to the Mina Suvari one, where fucking
Was it Day of the Dead Contagion? with
yeah, Ving
Rhames?
Rhames eats his
Yeah.
fucking eyeball as a zombie. I'm like, okay, you've got quite a low bar to jump over actually, so it might not be.
Because
See,
everyone
now
was
the
waiting
budget
for a
in this
sequel
one's
to
not
the
bad.
Dawn of the Dead remake.
of course,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which-
the
it's not coming.
budget's pretty good, man. I mean, the
Yeah.
effects are pretty good, but the acting is fucking bad.
That's where they lost the money. They used all the money on the effects.
Dude,
that was
bad.
it. Yeah.
It is bad.
Yeah, any more movie news?
Yes, the next one is Blade Runner 3 could be a possibility
Right.
because
Money.
Sir Ridley Scott already has
fucking
ideas for the next
hell.
movie, and I was just like, this sounds so fucking
He's going to bring Michael
familiar.
Fassbender in.
Ridley Scott must go into meetings the same way Stephen King does. You know, just sort of like, I got an idea. What's around the office? Like, this pen!
But he did say, yeah, maybe, Blade Runner 2049 was a bit too long, so maybe the next one maybe won't be too long. But he was like, yeah, I've got ideas.
Fuck that shit. If the Japanese can make a 6-hour movie, Ridley Scott can.
Well, yeah.
Don't tempt him, dude.
Fuck it. Do whatever it fucking wants.
Bright 2 is in the works.
I enjoyed Bright.
Now,
Bright was good.
I
man.
remember you said in a previous podcast that you really enjoyed Bright, and I was like, okay, that's like the first positive review I've heard from anyone anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I watched it, and I really loved it. Like, I really liked it. And
I read the
Will
reviews. I read the reviews after as well and was like, what the fuck is everyone's problem with this thing? I
Yeah.
mean, seems like the critics didn't like it, but everyone I know that's watched it is like, it's really good.
It's got Will
Yeah.
Smith in it, mate.
Yeah,
He was-
it's
he
like,
was-
he
he
was good.
he was good, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joel Egerton's way better.
Absolutely. Yes, he was.
phenomenal.
Yeah, but if
as an
you-
orc, fantastic.
If
yeah.
you've got Will Smith in your Alien Nation style story with orcs, I mean, I looked at the orcs and I was just like, good thing you're you're on Netflix because this wouldn't sell.
Well,
in
it was
cinema.
still a $90 million
Yeah.
movie.
You
Yeah.
can see it as
And
well.
you can see
Yeah.
that in the effects. But when you get somebody like Will Smith there, and like you said, all the critics come back and say,
75 million of that is obviously.
yeah, all the critics come back saying, oh yeah, it's this, that, and next thing. I'm like, fuck you. Will Smith can't do no wrong.
Mate,
Well,
honestly, do you know what-
Independence
do you know
Day,
what
come
my
on.
favourite
Suicide
thing about-
Squad.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I like,
Mate, do you know what I
Suicide
really
Squad
liked
feel
about
good.
Bright though? Is the complete lack of explanation about the world. It's just
Yeah.
this is the world
This is
we're
the
in.
world we
Yeah.
live in.
Well, it took me a second rerun of watching it, but at one point I was like, "There's a fucking dragon in the air! Look, no one says a word.
Yeah, it's just part of the world.
It's just
part
part
of the
of
world,
it.
yeah.
This is the world we live in. Yeah, really enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
no, I really liked that. It was
I'm
the
glad
whole
to see. Have
J.R.
they lit it
Tolkien.
like Bright 2 like a new movie? Yeah,
Yes, it's
Like,
going to be
probably
new,
gonna
and
see
it
this
looks
as
like
another
both of them are
Christmas
going to return.
fucking
Nice.
awesome.
And so, I mean, the reason why is because it was the highest viewed Netflix film ever on the service within its first week of release, and it's their #1 movie in all 190 countries that Netflix is available in.
Yeah, it's not much.
Because Will Smith.
Yeah,
I bet, Will Smith definitely a part of it, but I think there's just the whole lore and that world was just intriguing and exciting enough to get people to
Absolutely.
actually just check
And
it out.
after watching it, there's so much more
the
to
geeks
explore.
will inherit
Exactly,
the earth,
yeah.
mate. The
Yeah.
geeks will inherit the earth.
We will.
So next on the ridiculous scale, now this is a film that I cannot wait for. This is ticking every guilty pleasure box that there is when it comes to
Is it the
films.
third Dead Rising movie?
No.
Oh.
This film is simply called Meg,
Oh, I've read
and
the
it
book,
is the
man.
Megalodon
Yes, bitch!
being turned into a movie, and
There's still no trailer.
The Steve Alton
No,
book, yeah.
No, there's
But-
still no trailer, so don't get
still
excited
images
yet.
have come out for it.
Ah, yeah.
Jason Statham's the main character.
Oh, fuck, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I totally get
He
that.
plays a scientist / scuba diver / submersible dude.
Don't get
And
too
a bunch of
excited.
scientists down at the bottom of the ocean do something stupid and release Megalodon, who then traps them down there, and so Jason Statham's got to
Really?
swim
Is that
down
the
there and
plot?
save them.
Yeah.
That is the plot.
Why the
That's the
fuck
plot.
didn't they just go with a book, man?
Well-
Because they don't go by books nowadays, do they?
No, but the book's really simple and really good.
Yeah, but
'Cause, like in the book, I mean, compared to what you've just sort of like read for the synopsis, is in the book it's a submersible pilot, and he goes down. It's into the Mariana Trench. The
Yeah, I'm
deepest
guessing.
fucking
Yeah, the
place in
deepest
the
part of
world.
the ocean.
And the Megalodon is still alive down there. Essentially, there's an accident, and it's actually there's more than one. There's two, and
Spoilers.
The way it, spoilers. If you've not read this fucking like 15,
there's gonna be 2.
I read this book when I was like fucking 14, so read it.
Yeah.
But essentially, like the way it comes to surface by killing that fucking Megan swimming up through the warm blood and stuff like this, and then that's it. It's on the surface, and they got to deal with it, and it's an amazing scene. So if they do have it down in a kind of deep blue sea style, like we're going to keep it contained in this little area, they're really missing a fucking trick.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is
plus Jason Statham.
I would love to see it. I'd love to see it, but the only issue I've got is it's been rumored for a while now. It's been rumored for
a long time. I know.
At least 5 years.
I've been trying to get this movie go since I read the book.
And that's it. There's no trailer at the moment, and I'm worried that they can't get the shark as big as you want consistently in enough scenes that makes sense.
That you believe it.
Well, they can if they spend the money, as long as they don't Sharknado it. Then like,
but you always have that issue, don't you? Somebody will sit there and go, "Oh, look, it's gone from that size to this size," and then that's how the film will be remembered.
Okay, well, put it this way. I mean, have you seen In the Heart of the Sea?
Yes, the Moby Dick.
I mean, they kept things. They did really well with that one. You know what I mean? With,
but wasn't that all wooden boat and shit?
Yes.
Right. That's not.
You're talking about the size of like the animatronic.
Of the scale of the ships to the people to the whale.
Yeah, and it also didn't have Jason Statham in. Jason Statham.
If
he was in a wooden ship.
If
he was in a wooden
Thor
ship.
was in that movie, bitch.
Right. If Jason Statham was in it, the ship would be on fire and he'd be fucking shagging his girlfriend up against the mast.
Probably.
Trying to keep his heart going.
Yeah, it's very different from the book. You're right. I like your movie better.
So before we get into some film trailers, I've got a bit of video game news.
Ooh.
And a couple of friends have let me know this, that Dark Souls has been remastered.
On the Switch.
And it's coming to the Switch, the PlayStation, the Xbox, and PC.
Nintendo are getting a fucking Dark Souls game.
So you can now play Dark Souls on the go, on the toilet.
Yeah,
wherever
boy.
you want, at the
Fuck
pub.
your PCs and your Xbox Ones, your PS4. I'm playing fucking Dark Souls while taking a shit.
As the only adult that owns a Nintendo, you must be so stoked.
Man, the thing I always stand by is that the same argument always comes up. You know, Nintendo don't release adult games. Their games aren't really marketable, and I'm not going to buy their console because of those many reasons. I can get all of my gaming adult stuff from over here. PC,
You're
PlayStation,
talking about the difference between
and
Nintendo
Xbox.
and the AAA titles argument.
Nintendo have still survived longer than pretty much any of the other companies that we've got going at the moment.
Because Pokemon.
You know, they have changed technology every step of the way. You look at the Game Boy, you look at the GameCube, you look at the Nintendo 64. They are always constantly changing. They're always taking the hit on it financially.
Oh, dude, you can't fuck with their balls on to change the game.
The fact that I could play now when I buy a Switch because I've got to sell a liver to get it because it's so fucking expensive.
Yeah, my kid asked for one for Christmas, and I was like, no, like, fuck you.
You know,
Santa don't like you that much.
It's got Dark Souls on it. One of the greatest fucking RPG games of the last 10, 20, 15 years. You know,
for its genre, I mean, it redefined the genre completely. There's been so many clones ever since.
It's such a Dark Souls is such a beautiful work of art that everybody should be able to play it, and it shouldn't just be confined.
The thing is, over the last I think it's nearly 10 years. I think it's been 10 years since Demon Souls came out now.
Yeah.
And I think the PlayStation's getting a special trilogy package
they should
released where it's all 3 Dark Souls games.
Sweet.
But as soon as people said, I played Dark Souls 2 and 3 with you, play 1 with me, and I'm just like,
no.
Every time somebody says it to me, it feels like somebody's dancing on my grave. I platinumed, 1,000 pointed, 100%ed Dark Souls 1 and 2 and 3.
And I'm never doing it again.
And I was just like, once I'd done it, it was like, I didn't know a soul, literally, that had also done it. And it was such an experience of having to play that game online with strangers without audible dialogue between you.
Yeah.
You know, it was the first time where you had to use the emotes to talk to each other, to point. People would drop presents, or people would mock you, or people would come in and just fucking stab you in the face.
The worst is when they leave a little sign. They leave a little sign on an edge. And you just go up there and it says jump, and you're like, oh, it must be a secret. Oh,
dead.
Fucking bastard.
And somebody's just trolled you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such an experience. And, you know, Dark Souls 2 and 3
you
emulated
it. To be fair, dude.
But
it's a lot of secret
what Dark Souls 2 and 3 did differently to the first one was its matchmaking, cooperative gameplay was simplified by implementing a password system so that you could easily find your friends, and it also, I think, expanded the soul level difference so that you could always game with each other. That is being implemented into the remaster. Nice. So it will have the same compatibility as all the Dark Souls games.
See, now the more games
and so I'm like, well, I might have to just do it all over again. Sense Fortress, no.
That's it. The
fact that it's also been remastered. What, Ian, you help me remember the name of the place where the frame rate stuttered like a bitch.
Blighttown.
Yes. It's been fixed. So you won't have the frame judders that would kill you.
Bullshit is it being fixed. Well, you're still going to fucking go...
I already don't believe you.
You're still going to fucking wander down there on that tiny little rickety bridge and hope to God that you can get over it before the poison guy fucking because you ain't got no moss to fucking cure yourself.
Because you used it all up on the last playthrough.
You lose like 100,000 soul.
Well, will you do it again?
Yes.
Yeah, you would.
Mate, seriously, the Switch... I've wanted to get a Switch for ages now for Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yes.
Because I fucking love the other two games. But for 350 odd quid for the console and another 60 quid for the game, I was like, I'm not...
You're going to have to wait.
I'll have to wait.
I know when I looked at it at Christmas, I was like, I'm going to drop 400.
Yeah, I won't buy one console for just one game. No. But
when there's a couple and the prices come down.
I like the Switch. I like the way how it plays. You know, I'm a Nintendo fan. The fact I can get Skyrim on it, so Dylan can do Skyrim.
Yeah,
I can get Doom on it.
I'm going to be
so
well
I can
pissed if Resident Evil 8 is exclusive to Switch.
I would love that. I'll be able to get
just like Capcom.
I'll be able to get Skyrim.
I was just about to say, like you say that, but it might happen.
Linda has just been smashing out loads of Splatoon recently. She loves Splatoon.
Yeah, it's a popular game.
We were playing it together, and she had her go. Pass it to me. I smashed out like fucking 8 kills, but didn't win the match. And as I handed a joypad back to her, Linda was just like, "You're gonna ruin my reputation." And I went,
"Oh my god, you got done!"
This is her. This is her game.
Ian went straight upstairs to put Doom back on.
I'm fucking chainsaws and
Duke Nukem's fucking fuck you.
Oh my god! Don't fucking talk to me while I'm playing Gears of War.
Next bit of game news is that everyone thought that Fable was dead. Lionhead Studios was shut down by Microsoft.
Yeah.
But that didn't mean that the Fable license was gone. Microsoft retained it and they've given it to the Forza Horizon developers, Playground Games, who are now developing a story and character focused open world action RPG.
Fable.
Right. Yes. So, you know, it's some of the games makers from Lionhead that obviously made the Fable games were just like, they're saying how weird it is to know that it was yours and now it's somebody else's. But they're concerned that they won't understand the complexities of what actually made a Fable game. But it is, I believe, another British developer that's making it, so hopefully it still retain the Britishness that essentially kind of made up part of the Fable universe.
I enjoyed the Fable games. It was just like I think where they fell down was like really the fucking promises. That
the failed promises.
Is it Peter Monolith?
Yeah. Yes,
I want to say
the most legendary.
He'd go out on
games
E3.
Bullshitter.
He'd go out on E3 and just sort of like just drop his fucking sack all over the stage. He's like, we're gonna have fucking trees that you can cut down and they'll grow back in the game. And I swear
game's
there
developers
was developers going like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Pills.
Have you talked about that? I'm talking about that. Like, what the fuck is he saying? You better get on this now.
I was going to say.
There was so many things that that didn't get delivered on. But yeah, I enjoyed the Fable games.
I'll be devil's advocate. I did not enjoy the Fable games. They were so childish.
I enjoyed the gameplay.
So childish.
It was the most simplistic. One button attacked, one was range, and one was magic.
Yeah, and that's
all color coded. It was very pretty.
That's what got me. And as the games went on, you know, it's like Fable 1 came out.
That was actually fairly difficult.
And everyone was like, "Oh, this game's really good," and I'm like,
"It's very different at the time. There wasn't a lot." It's like when it came out on the original Xbox, I want to say.
Yes.
Wasn't a lot like it that I was playing.
No, there wasn't. Well, but I wanted it to stand out, and then Fable 2 came out, and I'm like, "This is pretty much the first one, but you've got a dog."
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, right.
Oh, they were all practically... To me,
Yeah.
they were all pretty
Then
much...
the third one comes out. This is
Like you
pretty
can
much...
get married and have children and have multiplayer
I'm like-
bodyguards.
Are we over here waiting
It was
for
like
Skyrim?
Skyrim do it with DLC.
Oh, mate, yeah, but Skyrim
Yeah.
Well, they do, don't they?
down.
They do those updates to DLC. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It is quite interesting that you say that. They are sort of like very quintessentially sort of like British.
Yeah.
Very,
RPGs,
yeah.
aren't they?
Even
Maybe
to
that's
the
why I got
voice
a soft
actors
spot
and
for them
everything.
because I'm like,
Totally,
well, there are,
yeah.
so fuck you.
Right. So let's
You
get
can kick
into
chickens in this game. Fuck you, Skyrim. You have to put an arrow in yours.
yeah. Last we got film trailers. Obviously, we talked about Mum and Dad. Of
Yeah.
course. Next film trailer. Now, Ian, this is something that is on the review list. Just immediately, by proxy, by the fact that I promised we would do it when it came out, and it is due out this Valentine's Day, this February 2018, and the film is Hellraiser Judgment, the 10th Hellraiser film in the franchise. I don't know how many films this is, like the 6th attempt at Dimension to retain the rights to Hellraiser to make sure that Clive Barker never gets it back.
Dude, that's a good fucking trailer. I don't give a shit.
Now, I actually quite
I thought it was a good trailer.
after Hellraiser 9 Revelations, like this seems so much better. It immediately seems interesting, at least, to warrant giving it a go.
That's like driving down the motorway and seeing a car accident, not being able to stop and go, oh, we'll just wait for the next one. Maybe it'll be better and we'll see more. Fuck that. Fucking Hellraiser Judgment looks fucking bullshit. It's just a fucking mixed up trailer of, oh, who's this guy in the sunglasses? Oh, he's part of fucking Hell's fucking accountancy. He's got the fucking box and, you know, he's on Earth and doing all this crazy evil shit. Who's this over here? It's a cop. And who's the person next to him? It's his partner. And I bet you one of them's out on burnt edge trying to solve this one last final case.
That's every
Be able to
trailer.
but it's so fucking... Oh, God. The movie is going to fucking be an hour and a half of wank.
Really?
Yes.
Is that your review now?
That's my review now. It's going to be an hour and a half of wank. And it's
Such sights to show you.
Can I just say that if it turns out being good and he enjoys it, can you start the review with that
With that
soundbite?
soundbite, yeah.
This is going to be an hour and a half of wank. And then like
but
the next scene is him going, do you know I really enjoyed this flick?
it's saying I fucking enjoyed it after 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and fucking
9
Revelations. Fucking Revelations, man. That's 6 fucking films. 6 fucking
Dude,
films.
I've not
after...
watched it because I mentioned it and you shouted at me for 5 minutes. So I thought, alright, I won't bother.
Man, Hellraiser 1 was
It's
amazing. Hellraiser
understandable.
2 was even better. Hellraiser 3 is
It's fun.
enjoyable.
It's fun.
And yeah, like I said,
4 is fun.
They're just fucking trying to hold on to the
Still quite like
fucking
5.
contract.
Inferno's okay.
So they're gonna throw out this mystery. It's just gonna be a fucking mystery all the way through, and then Pinhead will turn up and go "Rrrr," with his box and fuck off again. And
Well, we have a third actor now playing Pinhead.
yeah,
Obviously, we went from Doug Bradley.
Doug Bradley
and
to the
then,
fucking stupid twat in Revelations.
I think
That's his name. Stupid.
Is it?
twat.
Stephen Smith Collins.
See?
That was.
I was close.
And the new one is Paul T. Taylor. But
Don't recognise him.
the film, I believe, has been written and is being directed by Gary Turnicliffe, who was the writer for the Revelations, but apparently what he wrote was not what ended up being made, even though he was there since, I think, Hellraiser... I think he was there from the beginning.
I mean,
definitely on 3 he was there doing the special effects and did the makeup for Doug Bradley all the way up to number 8.
But why is it Pinhead again? If you're gonna fucking
Well, no,
something,
the
just do
reason now
something
that this
new.
is the
of
thing.
course-
The Dimension have always said to anyone making Hellraiser, Pinhead goes on
Oh,
the front
yeah,
cover.
yeah.
He's
And that's
the
what
icon
ruins
of the
it.
franchise, so
but
he
they
has to be in it.
No, but I mean, if they're ever going to build it for, especially for a new audience as well, it's like, of course you've got to fucking put Pinhead because you got to build it for an audience. You got to bring everyone back.
That's what ruins it though. They go, right, we need this for a new audience, so we'll slap Pinhead on it because we'll draw in all the new people
You get
because
the
they'll be
nostalgia
in prison.
pal.
And you
Yeah.
get the nostalgia. But the nostalgic people have already gone through 9 movies up to this point and realised that the first 2 were the best ones.
Okay, but
because
no,
that
alright,
set
well,
the
then, look,
lore. Because there's a whole
haven't
lore
watched
behind
any-
it as well
I
that they're
haven't
going
watched
to
any
ruin.
past the third one. Mostly because you rant at me. But like, no, seriously, I watched the first two, fucking loved them. Third one, you're right, it's a fucking stupid, funny movie, but you know, we were used to that with the way, like, you know, we talked about the last series, Nightmare on Elm Street and everything like that. We're going, so we were used to it, so it was fine. But I haven't watched any of the others because they did, in a way, with Bloodlines, when they released it, I was like, it didn't look like a real movie to me, so I just didn't watch them. That trailer looked fucking good, man. That looked like an interesting, good retake. It's almost like, so I guess in a way, I'm at the advantage that I don't have six other movies that have killed it. I can just be like, oh, this is my remake of Hellraiser. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, Superman was in one of them.
Henry Cavill?
Yeah.
Really?
He was in Hellworld.
Yeah, he was in Hellworld.
Fuck.
Yeah. He got claimed by Cenobites.
Didn't he get? He got sucked off by Lance Henriksen through mental.
Sorry, do that again.
He got sucked off by Lance Henriksen through mental.
Oh, you're just gonna do it again? Yeah. Okay. Did he have a mustache in the movie?
No.
Because they digitized it.
I think it was before he could grow one. But also in the casting news for Hellraiser 10, Nightmare on Elm Street's own Heather Langenkamp, Nancy is appearing in a Hellraiser movie.
Girl.
Yeah.
Now I didn't even recognise her in the trailer. To be
what
honest,
have we just had? What have we just had with that same thing happen?
Go on.
Avian flu.
Cult of Chucky, was it? Was it Cult of Chucky?
Cult of Chucky.
Yeah.
Brought back the original actor, maybe.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
The fucking
Andy.
Chucky movies are so much better than Hellraiser, and Hellraiser's winning by like 6.
No, but that's not the point. Do you think
ahead,
that that's maybe why they've sort of done it? They've looked at that kind of like tactic of like, let's bring back the original. That's more of a like nostalgia pop, isn't it?
True.
And
Yeah.
it's not like anyone's beating down the door to make a fucking Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Well, I think I've said it before, but I think the new Nightmare on Elm Street movie will gear into production sometime soon. Like
Fingers
Friday
crossed.
the 13th has been suspended for now, but there's
maybe
new Halloween coming out.
Takes.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, there's a lot of big horror films coming out 2018, and we have like films
It
like
too.
It that kind of helped open up the door
I
for.
just realised something. I totally realised something I watched in the week that I had to mention to you. I meant to say when I come in. Have you? You know they released It on Blu-ray, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen the alternate and extended scenes?
I haven't yet. No.
Okay, right. So there's an alternative beginning
Okay.
to It,
Okay.
which is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. It's a spoof beginning
Really?
that they filmed totally seriously, but when you watch it, it's like, oh my god, they fucking trolled us on the DVD. So Georgie's following the boat. The boat goes down. You get the same exchange. Pennywise is like, here, don't forget your boat, Georgie.
Yeah.
And before he can do anything, Georgie just snatches the fucking boat and runs off and goes, thanks. Wait. And then it cuts back to him. It cuts back to Pennywise in the thing, and he's like really looking like mad, and just goes, shit. And that's it.
Nice.
I
Awesome.
was fucking dying. Oh my god, what a fucking awesome scene.
Yeah.
It was great.
That is great. And just finishing off the last bit of casting news for Hellraiser 10 is
Oh,
because
fucking hell.
We're not done yet, damn it. Sit there.
Wait, go on, who's
You'll
it
sit there and
out
listen to everything he has to say, okay?
they've cast a director, the director of Feast and of Piranha 3 Double D. Who's playing one of the main Cenobites.
Oh, they've cast him.
They've cast
Oh,
the
he's not the
director.
Iron
Oh,
fucking
right, I was
No,
gonna
no,
say.
Fine.
So they've cast a director who only really made one good movie out of a trilogy of films and a shitty
Piranha
movie.
Or sequel.
It was quite funny with
I
Ving
did
Rhames with
kind
the
of
shotgun
like-
for the legs.
it
fucking
was, yeah.
blasting people.
Nick Rames did a lot of shitty
There was a lot of
movies,
tits
but
as
some of them
well.
were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't all be Con Air, dude.
No. I never liked Con Air.
People under the stairs.
That haircut, really? Nicolas Cage? Just, how can I not love that?
You know what that is? That's pride. That's pride fucking with you.
Butch.
Fuck pride.
Well, that's going to bring us to the end of the first part of the podcast. But we'll be back with part 2, talking about the Royal Rumble.
Yeah!
And welcome back to part 2 of the podcast, where we're going to be talking about the Royal Rumble, which
Yeah,
is a
baby.
professional wrestling event produced every January since 1988.
It's
by-
more Rumble than ever.
Yes.
This year, that's the tag.
It's
Yeah.
30
Would you
years,
believe
right?
it? 30
30
years.
years.
Fucking years.
And it's named after the Royal Rumble match, which is a battle royale whose participants enter at timed intervals after the after the initial event was broadcast as a television special on USA Network, the Royal Rumble has been shown on pay-per-view and is one of the WWE's Big Four, alongside WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series.
Originally created by Pat Patterson as well, the brainchild of the great Pat Patterson.
One of the greatest Intercontinental champions of the time as well.
Very true.
The Royal Rumble is coming around this year, and I'm so mad fucking excited about it. I realised that I'm actually more excited about the Royal Rumble than I am about WrestleMania now.
Do you know, I think we need to clarify at this point, because we're about to talk for an hour about wrestling, and I appreciate that we're on like a movie review and game podcast, but you have to understand that when it comes to like wrestling, for me and Ian, we love our wives and families and kids and stuff. Yeah. We love them. Our feelings for wrestling go way deeper than that.
Yeah. Because
just be warned.
I definitely couldn't keep up with that.
I'll start this off.
My attitude.
That's it. I was a big fan of wrestling when I was a kid, but I didn't have Sky. I didn't have access to the pay-per-views. I didn't even have the friend circles to be able to say to me they like wrestling as well. For me, I had to keep wrestling quiet because you got fucking shit for it. And then all of a sudden, around 95, 96, I started to notice that other people were really big fans of wrestling.
The start of the Attitude Era when wrestling became absolutely mainstream.
I remember being...
It was the biggest thing.
I remember being in primary school, right? And I'm sat in class, and my teacher says something to a girl behind me. I remember vividly, she was sat behind me, and he said something to her about what she was going to be doing over the holidays. And she turned around and she said, I'm going to be watching Shawn Michaels win the Royal Rumble. And I remember thinking, oh my shit, there's a girl
was it like Wayne's World, like
you're like, holy fuck, and wrestling started to take off, especially like we said during the big Attitude Era. But for me, I remember watching the 1992 Royal Rumble with Ric Flair.
Oh yeah.
And the pay-per-view itself, you've got like 3, 4, maybe 5 matches, depending on time limit, leading up to the big 30-man battle royale. And like we said, when it first came out, it wasn't much of a trophy for winning. I mean,
there was no prize.
I think the first
winner
was
no road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, the first winner was Big John Studd.
The first winner was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The first televised one was Big John Studd.
Big John Studd, and when they won it, they didn't get anything apart from the fact that they've won the Royal Rumble.
Pride.
Then all of a sudden, it starts to obviously lead to getting to WrestleMania, and I remember '92 was the time when the belt had been taken off The Undertaker after being Hulk Hogan, and it was vacant. And that's a big fucking thing as a wrestling fan. There is no champion.
It's always interesting. You know something's going to go down, and like you're going to get an unexpected champion as well.
Yeah. Ric Flair enters into WWF at the time, coming off of the indie circuit, coming out from WCW.
He came in as the real world champion. He still had the NWA championship, that classic gold belt that we all came to know as the WCW championship as well. Yeah.
And he would go on into the Royal Rumble, and he was the first. He was the third entrant. But I believe he was the first person to last over an hour, under an hour. It was at least an hour. He was in the Rumble.
I believe it was over an hour.
And for me as a kid,
I think Mysterio still got the record. Yeah. But at the time, it was
for me as a kid, Ric Flair, at the end of that match, with all the welts on his chest from all the slaps that he took, from the bruises on his back, from all the slams he took, the amount of times he tried to flip himself up in the corner and run along the apron to get back into the ring to stay in. You've got Bobby Heenan on the commentary.
Oh, the commentary made it, didn't it? Bobby Heenan, who was we should clarify, his manager
at the time.
He was like, he had a vested interest in it. And then Gorilla Monsoon's like comeback where he'd be like, where's Flair? Where's Flair? Gorilla would be like, would you shut up about
just shut up, I'm talking about everybody else.
I just need to know.
And the Rumble itself has
star-studded as well.
Yeah.
We've had a few where, I mean, like we were talking about, like, 95 with the Bulldog and Michaels, where like they started and finished because they were the only names in it. But this was started. You had a story between Jake the Snake and Macho Man in that one as well, and Hogan was in it. Sid Justice, Vicious, whatever you call him.
It has been a great place to start feuds.
Yes.
That would also lead into WrestleMania.
Well, I think that's. I mean, obviously, they always use this time of the year is the most exciting time to be a wrestling fan because now, and especially with the way they don't do a lot of long-term booking as such in wrestling, unless your name's Roman Reigns. You tend to now is where you start getting the booking for the next 3 months to like establish these storylines going into WrestleMania.
Yeah. And the beauty I find of it as well, like I said, is it gives every single person on the not every single person, at least 30 superstars the chance to get in there and stand in front of a crowd where they wouldn't honestly get a chance before.
That's what I like. I love the spectacle of the Royal Rumble, and I often am not just re-registered to the WWE network just to watch the Rumble, and then I unsubscribe again. I'm just like, I just want to watch the Rumble, just that event, unless there is a decent feud.
Yeah.
Going on, and I'll catch up with it.
But not just the 30-man Rumble match sets some of the stories. I mean,
true.
Some of the outside matches have been really, really good. Okay, you've got some matches with the headbangers and the rockers and, tag teams that you're not really bothered about. But then you have some epic fucking clashes, like Undertaker and Shawn Michaels casket match, That's one of the most pinnacle ones for me. Because
we talked about it, didn't we, today? We were saying about how you've got The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and the Royal Rumble have their careers and that event have been incredibly intertwined. Where you had 1998, the casket match, which was the injury that, as we thought at the time, ended Shawn Michaels' career. He took a bump over the top rope. He landed, the small of his back hit the casket. And if you listen to him talk about it, he always says, like, he didn't think of anything at the time.
Yeah.
Woke up the next morning, couldn't move. That was it. He's like tore up his ACL and everything like that. But then when we move forward, because, I mean, if you don't know, if you're a wrestling fan, you'll know, obviously, that, it culminated in a retirement match at WrestleMania 26 with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. But you had Royal Rumble 2007, where the final two combatants were The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. And you never thought you'd ever see it.
You didn't think you'd see it, but also the fact that you have these guys this deep into their careers. Shawn Michaels obviously having this comeback, this amazing story. It comes back to the two of them. They're both flat out in the middle of the ring as the last guy's eliminated. And you have a sit-up from Taker, a kip-up from Michaels, and then we get like a 7-minute match between two of the greatest of all time.
Yeah. The crowd were fucking crying.
They were on their feet. It was an amazing spectacle. I think we might have watched that one together, actually, because we've watched so many of them. So
yeah.
It was incredible. And then, obviously, when it moved up, you had like the match where they had, when we moved into the streak territory with The Undertaker, it was always like, who's going to try and beat the streak at Mania?
Yeah.
WrestleMania 25, it was him and Michaels in what's probably a perfect wrestling match. The following year, Michaels wanted to have another go, and Undertaker refused the challenge. He was champion at the time, and we're in the stage now where the prize for the Royal Rumble, as we mentioned, is now a title shot at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So Michael says, fine, I'm going to win the Rumble, and then you can't refuse to fight me. So the whole story of 2010 was Michael's desperately trying to win that Royal Rumble to fight Taker, and when he was eliminated, my heart sank. I was no. I was like, I got to see this rematch, So Undertaker and Shawn Michaels have been amazingly entrenched.
Michaels won 95 and 96.
Back to back 95 and 96, I believe you're right. Yeah.
And then Austin would go on and win it again, 97 and 98. And it was that pinnacle match where the guy at the end was going to set the staple for the next.
It's WWE pinning a badge on him and going, we're going to strap the rocket to you.
Yeah.
And you're going to lead us forward. Right?
Yeah.
It's funny you say about other matches as well that's within the Royal Rumble is, I've got a few that I wrote down because we've been watching so many recently back to back. Is Rock versus Mankind, the I Quit match.
Oh, that was
one of the
brutal
most brutal fucking
match.
things you've ever seen.
How many chair shots did he take
he
to the
hit
head?
Mick Foley in the face with a chair so many times. At the time, Mick Foley doing his Mankind gimmick had this big leather mask on that. If you watch the Beyond the Ring documentary after the match, you can see the
mask has been imprinted into his face.
Embedded and put this huge gash in his fucking mush.
And he keeps turning to the Rock during the match. He keeps turning to the Rock.
He was handcuffed, so he couldn't put his hands up to defend himself.
So he's trying to give the Rock the lower part of his head, to take the defense. And the Rock's just waiting for him to look up. So as soon as he looks up, whack again. Yeah. And his family, Mankind's family, are in the fucking crowd. They're crying. We got him on camera. And you've still got the Royal Rumble to go.
Yeah. I think the following year as well, you had Triple H versus Mick Foley again, but as Cactus Jack.
Yes.
And that Royal Rumble 2000 has got a very special place in my heart because one, you had the build up for Triple H and Cactus Jack was amazing because he was still doing the Mankind gimmick, and he came out before the Rumble when he had this title match. He'd come out like almost like a broken man on the mic. Triple H is standing all proud in the ring, and he's like, "I'm Mankind." He's referring to himself in the third person. He's like, "I am not ready to face you in a street fight at the Royal Rumble." And Triple H is laughing like, "Yeah, you know," and then he's like, "But I know someone who is."
Yeah.
And he walks the ring and he pulls the mask off and rips his shirt and he's got a Cactus Jack, and he's like,
yeah.
and his name is Cactus Jack. And Triple H's reaction was so good.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to an interview with Triple H where he said after that issue of SmackDown, they were both backstage going, "I think we built it up too much. Shit, I don't know if we can deliver on the match." But that Royal Rumble was the first one that was televised on Channel 4 in England.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of people over here, we got to see that whole pay-per-view. And that was a lot of people's introduction into the Attitude Era of wrestling. I know it was Channel 4's introduction because they shit their pants and canned it nearly.
Yeah.
I've slipped in a couple of questions from the question segment into this one because they're wrestling related. And so we have a question from Nick Etherington.
Hey, Nick.
Who wants to know what's our best non-Rumble match from any Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And mine was the Triple H versus Cactus Jack 2000 match.
Man, when he lands on that piece of wood,
I was a fan.
Big Money Hustlers did it well as well.
Big fan of Triple H from the Hunter Hearst Helmsley kind of ridiculous days.
Greenwich,
you know, I was just like, I saw the potential in this actor, wrestler, whatever. I was just like, he's really good, and I loved the whole DX thing, and then watching him separate himself and then climb the ladder, and basically just start winning. And I was like, wow, he's actually winning on his own. But then he would often or not then face the big ones like Rock and Stone Cold and Undertaker and just get his ass handed to him. But then he would get, then he got the Road Dogg and everyone else, and they would cheat for him. Yeah. And they would win him every match. And you're just every match. And I'm just, but I was still just loving the Triple H character. Heel. Yeah. But then when it came to the pay-per-views and Triple H had the title, I was just like, now he's on his own.
Oh, he was legitimately
and
tough.
The match that he had with Cactus Jack cemented Triple H for a whole year of not losing a match on his own without the need to cheat. And he legitimately beat The Rock and Stone Cold and just was the face of the before he became the face of the company. And that was my favourite year of wrestling as well.
Yeah.
And so that match, I forgot the actual Rumble of that event.
One of my favourite non-Rumble matches at a pay-per-view as well was 2001 Chris Jericho. I know we're not supposed to talk about it, but Chris Jericho versus Chris Benoit in a ladder match.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And it was a fucking spot fest. There's a spot where they're on top of the ladder. This is the Intercontinental Championship match as well, which has always been my favourite title because it's always the workhorse guys that fucking put on the best matches. There's a spot where Jericho puts the Walls of Jericho on Benoit over the top of the ladder, which I didn't think was humanly possible until I saw it happen.
Yeah.
It is a fucking just lesson in how to put on a hard-hitting match. It's phenomenal. That's one of my favorites.
Is that before Jericho became Undisputed Champion?
Yes.
So
it's that year.
Like we said, as workhorses.
Sorry. Following year he did, 2002 is when Triple H won the title because he came back from the quad injury.
Yeah.
And then, because ironically, then they were teaming together, Jericho and Benoit, with the tag titles, and Austin Triple H did the two-man power trip.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, the Intercontinental Championship, having that match at the Royal Rumble before the Rumble, setting what would be the road to WrestleMania. These two guys have now busted their fucking asses and made such an amazing match, which shadows what WWE are actually trying to sell.
Yeah.
And then they go, right, okay, Jericho, you're going to be our undisputed champion. You're going to beat Rock and Austin in the same night. Benoit, you're going to go on and you're going to come in at number 1 at the 2004 Royal Rumble and fucking wrestle all the way through and win the chance to go on to WrestleMania and win the championship match. Now, like I said, we in the world of wrestling and the world of WWE, you don't really talk about Chris Benoit, and it's one of the harshest things because, well, I say it's the harshest thing. I understand what he did, and as a company, you do not want to televise it. You cannot publicise it. But the fact that now Royal Rumble 2004...
Anytime we talk about Chris Benoit, we're just talking about as a wrestler.
Yeah, as a wrestler.
We're not talking about the man, we're talking about his character.
His time in the business.
Chris Benoit,
In 2004, it was a really good Rumble. But I mean, going back to the answer to the question, my favorite match has to be. It's either Undertaker versus Yokozuna at Royal Rumble. Right,
Oh
which is a really terrible match,
That
but
was
the
the most
ending.
comic book thing I've ever seen. It was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Gary, do you know what he's talking about?
Nope.
Explain this shit,
Right,
man. 'Cause
so
it was amazing.
Undertaker and Yokozuna are facing in a casket match. Undertaker has never lost a casket match up to this point. You know, it is his match, and Taker is. Well, he's fighting Yokozuna, but Yokozuna's like 700 pounds. He's putting the hurt on Taker.
Well, he was winning. He was ahead.
Yeah, he was ahead.
Winning.
Taker's winning. He's getting Yokozuna ready to get into the casket, and then everyone starts coming down.
The whole fucking locker
The
room.
Road Dogg,
For
Billy
no
Gunn,
reason.
Jeff Jarrett, Bam Bam Bigelow,
Who
everybody.
knew everyone hated The Undertaker?
Everybody comes down. They
There's no
beat
reason
him
for
down,
it.
and they stuff him into the casket, and the casket is closed. Yokozuna wins, and they are. What was it? They are.
It was a
wheeling-
title match, wasn't it? Yokozuna had the title. It was a
Yeah,
title match.
they're wheeling the casket out, and the lights start to go, the music starts to go, and then you've got the Undertaker on the screen. And
In the casket, I might add, there's a camera in that casket.
yeah,
Because he's lying there.
and he starts talking about how he cannot die and he will return. And this was when it would start to turn
I shall
Taker
not rest
into the
in
Attitude Taker.
peace.
But he floats away.
There's a graphic.
Yeah, there's a
of him
graphic.
floating off into
And
the
it just
heavens.
floats off, and it's Marty Jannetty, I believe, playing Taker.
Yeah.
who gets hoisted up into the rafters.
Yeah.
So you're at this
there is
live
a
event like,
physical. He is being pulled up.
the Undertaker's gone to heaven. Oh my god!
And look, who's commentating? Is it Jim Ross at that time?
I believe it. It's Jim Ross
you
and
can
Vince
tell-
McMahon.
And
Vince
they're
McMahon.
like, Vince is doing the same commentary. I love Vince McMahon and commentary back then. He's like, look at this! He always does this weird kind of like, listen to this! Like, yeah, everything. And Jim Ross is just like, I have no idea what I'm watching. It was so fucking class. Yeah, but I remember watching that as a kid going like, holy fuck,
That's amazing.
wrestling's amazing!
Yeah,
And it would set it up.
such a show.
It would set it up as well with when Taker would lose to Michaels at WrestleMania 98.
When Kane came out to
When
stuff
Kane
him in
came
the
out,
casket, set it
stuffs
on
him in the
fire
casket,
and,
sets it on fire. He fucking
hits
axes
it with
it
an
up,
axe, kills the
sets it on fire.
casket with an axe.
And you're just like, that just sets Taker up. Then some of those matches are some of my favorite ones.
Is Kane still wrestling?
He is.
Yes,
He's
he
in
is.
the,
He's still Kane.
He is in the main event.
Kane
He is
actually.
in the title match, a triple threat with Brock Lesnar, Kane, and Braun Strowman. It is 2018, and that motherfucker is in the main event.
Awesome.
I found out a stat though because at the time of this recording, the upcoming Monday, which is what's the date today? It's the 20th, so it's the
7th, is it?
Is it 27th? Well, the upcoming Monday,
29th.
it will be the Raw 25th anniversary.
Oh, sorry.
And Kane has been in the most matches on Raw in its time.
He's been in the most Rumbles as well. Technically, if you count
He's
the time
has he
he was
not? Has
in
he
there.
eliminated more than anybody
No,
else?
Roman
Reigns has beat that one.
But in a single Rumble.
Okay.
But he's been Glenn Jacobs.
Yeah.
Has been in the most Rumbles if you also count him in there as Isaac
Yeah,
Yankovic
yes,
and Fake
Yes,
Diesel.
and that's
Right,
what they
yeah.
did. That's what they did. Chris Jericho's actually been in a cumulative of 4 hours of his time spent in the Rumble.
Yeah, that's what I remember that.
record.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
And it's just, like I said, it's just such a
I love the
beautiful
stats
thing.
of the Rumble. You don't get stats at any
No.
other fucking wrestling
No.
event.
Yeah.
Stats for the Rumble are really important.
They just break it. They
Love
break
it.
down how many entrants, how many people being eliminated, how many celebrities.
Yeah.
This year as well, we've got the first female, women's Royal Rumble.
Is there 30 of them now?
Yes.
Yes,
Wow.
there
Do you know
is.
what I love as well is the fact that they're going full bells and whistles. They're not like, we're going to do a women's Royal Rumble, we're going to do 20 women and stuff. It's like, no, we're going to do 30 women, it's going to be the same event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
For
it's
the
the same rules as well, isn't it? The
Same
winner
rules.
gets to go to
Incredible,
WrestleMania
yeah.
and get
It's
the championship
Yeah.
back. And I'm just like, that's brilliant because this
Way
also
long
paid.
overdue.
Is Mick Foley's daughter started wrestling yet?
Not yet. She's,
Not-
as far
not
as I know,
yet.
she's still training at the development center.
Yeah, but
Hey, but all right, maybe a surprise entrance.
yeah,
Could be.
yeah, and this is the thing. I mean, you say
No
it's long
Foley?
overdue, but I mean, Stephanie McMahon has obviously done a lot of stuff in the background.
Dude,
What?
while you're mentioning that,
Okay,
my biggest fear
yeah.
is that Stephanie McMahon is entrant number 30 and wins it.
Nah, I don't think she'll win it. I reckon she'll be in it.
She's going to be in it.
I reckon
too.
she'll be in it for the sake of it and to take the bump like her dad did.
Maybe.
You know,
You know what's funny you
she
say
wants
that?
to take
It's
a
like,
bump.
when I watched Royal Rumble 2001, there was a street fight between Ric Flair and Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
This is at the time when they were both co-owners of the air quotes podcast. They were co-owners, and it's an amazing, because obviously it's a street fight, because like Vince can't wrestle, but he can get the shit beat out.
And
I'm watching it because like, I got a big problem with like the way they're booking Shane McMahon to be the toughest fucking guy of all time at the minute. When I'm like, calm the fuck down. And you watch Vince, and he's fighting that match with Rick, and obviously he starts levering him because he's built like a brick shithouse in it, and man, Vince fucking would sell for anyone. He sells everything that Nature Boy gives him. So, and also taps out to the figure four, and I'm like, that's the fucking booking you need for the McMahons now. I don't mind them having a match, but they should ultimately get beaten by the professional fucking wrestlers.
Right,
You know what I mean? That's why I loved Vince's matches.
Well,
because he'd always lose.
But I think, for me, I remember, I think it was Shane McMahon versus Undertaker when he flew across the ring.
Buried Alive match.
That was when I went, oh, actually...
and okay, Taker lost that, but not because of Vince. Kane came out and buried him alive. I don't mind, a screwy finish is a screwy finish.
I mean,
he didn't win the Rumble clean.
But Shane,
he's never won a match.
He's shown that he can take the hits and give out some punishment, and I was like, he's interesting. And I loved his stint with Big Show.
Talking about that, I mean, Vince McMahon's Royal Rumble moment, that was fucking
crazy.
The fact that
that was riot inducing.
Crazy. Austin's number one, and they've got this massive feud going, him and Mr. McMahon. And then McMahon is forced to be number two by Shawn Michaels, who was the commissioner at that time. And everybody was buying that pay-per-view. Right. They won. WCW had nothing on that year because McMahon was going to be in the Royal Rumble, and is he going to be fighting everybody, or is it just going to be Austin? Oh no, he's got $100,000 bounty on Austin's head for the first person to eliminate him. So everybody's
fantastic storytelling.
The fact that they leave the ring halfway through.
Oh yeah, they fuck off around the arena.
And the next entrance, I think, is Christian. Christian just comes down and just climbs in the ring like. Well, where is everybody? Austin's laid out in the toilet.
He replicated that spot as well, because in the 2002 Royal Rumble with Undertaker got eliminated by Maven.
Yes,
who
fucking
was a tough
Maven,
winner,
fucking Maven.
And then proceeded to beat the fuck out of the poor kid around the arena. And I think Christian came out and did the set. He kind of hung up on the ropes, just like chilling, just like loving life.
What am I gonna do? It's
so funny.
Like I said, the Royal Rumble just sets up. You never know what's going to happen. We were talking about this before.
Returns, man. You get so many returns as well, either from injury or just like people.
I remember Triple H came back after the leg injury.
John Cena's big entrance.
Yeah, but that was a massive. That's my favourite 30 entrance of all time. Is when John Cena come back. I wrote down what one it was. I think it was 2012.
Yeah.
He came back. At number 30, was it 2012 or 2013? He came back and no one expected it because he was out with a pec injury where he'd torn his pectoral muscle completely off of the bone. So he had like an experimental surgery that would allow him to recover in like fucking no time at all. Had it, did it, came back at the Rumble when that fucking music hit, and that, bear in mind, this is Madison Square Garden, I believe, as well. Am I right? We've got a thing up here with it. Yeah, Madison Square Garden. So you've always got that classic. If you've seen the 2000 Royal Rumble, like I mentioned, that was at Madison Square Garden, where you had the entrances on the hard camera side. It's not off to the side, so you just saw everyone come out, and it's a real short entrance.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden crowd for wrestling. Madison Square Garden is the mecca of wrestling.
Yes.
That crowd is not friendly. Okay, and I'd say that crowd popped for John Cena because no one saw that coming, and when he came out, just stood there and. Fantastic reaction from Triple H, where I swear on camera you could see him just go, "What the fuck are you doing here?" It was fantastic. That was brilliant. But returns wise, we got Mr. Perfect coming back
2002.
Kevin Nash coming back as Diesel. Not just Kevin Nash actually coming back as Diesel, putting the glove on. That was great.
See, it's like I'm expecting Big Cass to return for this year.
I don't know that. I was hoping that
he's still injured at the moment.
He is still too far past the injury. Obviously, we had the tease of like maybe Kenny Omega, but he's renewed his contract that doesn't actually expire until just after.
I reckon Jericho will be in this year.
I got something to ask.
Okay.
Now, every Rumble that I've ever seen has had a gimmick, or there is a clique of characters that will come in and in the middle of the Rumble get to do their gimmick. Like the one that frustrated me the most, if I remember, was Rikishi and
Too cool,
Too
doing,
cool,
doing that
Yeah.
fucking dance in the middle of the Rumble, and I'm just like, oh,
Well, you had the
really?
Straight Edge
Like,
Society where Punk was do like the Sermon on the Mount. Every
Yeah, he
time
just
eliminates
stopped every now and
or
again
the,
to talk.
The NXT, the Nexus, where it was
Yeah.
just them in the ring and they'd
Right.
eliminate every person who come out. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Do you know what I'm hoping for this year?
What?
I'm wearing a T-shirt.
Oh, the Balor Club.
the
You're
Balor
hoping.
Club. That's I'm hoping to see a
Now,
strong show.
yeah,
from
but
the
you-
so
Balor
do you
Club.
like those setups?
You've
Yeah,
got
man,
to
because
remember.
it's an hour-long match. You've got to. At the end of the day, if you really analyze and watch the Rumble matches,
Yeah.
there's a lot of shoving in a corner.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I
of
mean,
course.
I watched the kayfabe commentary video with Hornswoggle, who's was released from the company.
The
last
little
year,
leprechaun guy.
the leprechaun,
Right.
And
Yeah.
he was talking about the Royal Rumble match that he was in, and they were asking him, how do you set up a Royal Rumble? He's like, is there a big a guys lined up and stuff? And he talked. It was really interesting because he was saying about you need to know who's eliminated before you and who's coming out in this to work out everything. You need to know these two
Yes.
spots.
No, the spots,
And,
yeah.
exactly. And he was kind of saying the main thing you got to know is like when someone comes out, put a bit of shine on them, take a few moves from them and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So you always get like
They
get
have
that, but
their
other than
10-second
that,
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
other
they
than
hit
that
it,
moment, then
Yeah.
there's backs as a bit of shoving in the
Yeah,
corner.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you know, there's a little spot every time someone
I've
comes out.
been
and
in
then
a
it's
30-man
90
elimination Royal
Of course you
Rumble
did, yeah,
match.
you did it when Johnson.
As
Yeah.
a Crimson
Yeah.
Soul, yeah, and I remember being eliminated before I
Yeah,
was
before
supposed to
your time.
be. I was
Yeah.
supposed to be the final two, but
Hey,
yeah,
don't
it's,
feel bad.
and it is
Austin,
crazy.
it happened to Steve Austin, mate.
Yes.
It can happen to Steve Austin. It can happen to
Yeah,
anyone.
it just
Yeah.
happened. Yeah,
He
it's just
got
a bit of
eliminated for
confusion,
his
and somebody makes a mistake, and but you just roll with it, and yeah, so
But
it is crazy.
So
in
I
there.
think to answer your question that it's good to have those spots in the middle of the Rumble, whether it be like the Sermon on the Mount, whether it's the Nexus,
feeds the
whether
fans
it's Kane,
and-
Yeah,
whether
it
it's
keeps
Kane
the stories
hitting
going.
the honky
Yeah.
tonk man with his own
Yeah.
guitar.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's
Yeah, I mean, it's like
fantastic.
when you have something silly like Beth Phoenix coming out in the middle of the Royal
Kissing
Rumble
the Great
and then
Khali over
kissing
the top
the
rope.
Great Khali
Yeah.
and pulling him over, or Awesome Kong coming out and just chasing
technically
Michael
an illegal
Cole.
elimination as well.
Oh.
She hadn't got in the ring yet.
Do you remember?
Just saying.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that one where it was Booker T ended up coming off the commentator's table and going into the Rumble and getting eliminated.
Then JBL. Then Michael Cole.
Well, no, it's JR as well.
JBL.
Jerry the King Lawler, he gets called in.
Oh, there's one with
into another
JBL,
one.
but you're right. The
But
same
well,
Rumble. You're
yeah,
absolutely
and then
right,
Michael
wasn't it?
Cole gets called in. And
Karma
what,
comes
what
out,
I'm
yeah.
saying is those little gimmicks, they keep everything fresh.
Wasn't that the 40-man one?
You know?
So they were literally like, everyone's got to get in the ring.
Everybody's got to be
people
involved
for
in
this
it.
one, yeah.
And well, like we said as well, it builds up those stories. So like with the one where CM Punk, he was doing his big sermons of holding the microphone and just blathering his mouth because he thought he was that good on the
but
mic.
he was that good on
and
the
he was
mic,
that good, and he could hold the crowd. So now it builds it up for the next couple of months. He's going to be doing fucking sermons. So let's just hate on him.
What's your favourite elimination that's ever happened in the Rumble?
My favorite elimination.
Yours might be the same as yours because you liked Royal Rumble 2000. You mentioned it to me a little while ago, actually. Taka, wasn't it? Did you say Taka?
Oh yes. Sorry.
You
When
got thrown
when
out
you,
just
yeah,
brain.
I was thinking favorite elimination of a wrestler, and now I'm thinking Taka Michinoku's face smashing off the floor. That is pretty damn good.
My favourite was when Snitsky eliminated Paul London, and Paul London was on the apron, and Snitsky clotheslines him, right?
Yeah.
Now, instead of just crumpling to the floor, Paul London decides, I'm going to do a shooting star press off this clothesline onto the floor, and just took it clean on his face, and it was the most brutal fucking elimination I've ever seen in my life.
Do you remember the one where Cena does his knee in? You get to see him get eliminated. He goes, Cena goes over the top
they use
rope,
that on a video. He lands. It's
and
awful.
his left leg
Oh.
just twists,
Yeah,
and
man.
and you can see the pain on his face, and the camera cuts. And if you're watching the Rumble,
Yeah,
you won't
PG
notice
era
it.
and John
But if
Cena
you're
was
looking
like,
in the back, if you're looking in the background, you can see people putting up the X signs, like, we need somebody down here.
Yeah.
And here, I've got a question, and you may be able to answer it because obviously you being in a Rumble yourself, Gary. When you're prepared to go in, right? I think about the wrestlers who go down. You know, they've driven all this way to this event. They've just finished one event. They've driven 8 hours to get to an event. They're getting themselves ready. They're getting themselves all psyched up, chucking some water on their face, getting ready. The crowd's booming. There's all the excitement. They go out there. They climb into the ring, and boom! 5 seconds later, they're straight back out again.
Yeah.
You know, do you
Well,
think?
he didn't have to go that far, luckily.
Yeah, but
It was local.
as somebody who obviously has
was
gone
half cut when
into
he
the
did it.
back, you know, is is it the feeling of excitement that you get to watch everybody else now carry on? Or do you kind of sit there kicking shit around like, fuck's sake, motherfucking...
No, there was none of that. I mean, in my experience, when it wasn't in the Rumble match, but it was the match that came before it, where we had a wrestler in who was award-winning. You know, he was on his way, you know, past the local circuit and on to somewhere else. He was that good. And so the main event was him against our best. And our best wasn't even in the same league as him.
Yeah.
And so this award-winning guy lost his rag with this other one for not being able to sell his move properly, not landing properly, and subsequently kicked the shit out of him in the ring for realsies. So that our guy was stretchered out afterwards and sent to hospital.
I remember that.
And and that guy never wrestled again. He stopped
surprised.
it.
He fucking walked again.
Yes, and that was, I mean, I respect that, but at the same time, that's real fucking shitty.
Yeah.
You know, and so...
I was sat with my sister, and we took my nephew along to that. Cause
it became a horror show.
I sat there with my sister, and I was sort of like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, that was awful to watch.
It was awful. It was awful.
Fight. It was dreadful.
So, but other than that, every other event that I was at, and either filming documentary-wise or actually involved in, it's so much fun out back because everyone's different.
Yeah.
Like everyone, a lot of people also know who their partner is.
Yeah.
And so they just talk through, oh, this worked last time. Let's
do
try that.
that.
Work that this way this time and see how that works, and maybe try it this way. But everyone's prep time is different.
See, it's just weird. Like I said, I've been watching so many Rumbles leading up to obviously reading this theme, doing this theme, that you just watch the time it takes. Like there was one Rumble, I can't remember which one it is, but you got the Big Show. You know, Big Show comes out, he's all fucking massive. You know, and I'm thinking, this guy's travelled for a couple of miles. He's probably had Jericho in the car. They've been laughing, joking. He's probably been farting, all this. Big Show's walking down like a complete badass to the ring. You know, I know for a fact that the Big Show's not winning this Rumble, but, you know, he's big and large and imposing. He climbs into the...
I love the ring. Sorry, just a sidetrack right there. Hold that thought. But I always love the big guys in the Rumble. And especially like Big Show. It's just like, who will remove him? And it's like, it's 5 guys will remove him.
Yeah, 5 to 7 guys.
Andre the Giant was the same. It's like, you know, well, we need all of
the big guys.
Like somebody like Big Show, Andre the Giant, Mark Henry, you know, they get into the ring and they go, "Urgh," and then all of a sudden, like, I'm pretty sure it was Austin who eliminated Big Show in this Rumble. And Big Show tumbles out like a couple of minutes after and looks all pissed off.
Right.
And I'm
I know
looking
what you're
at
talking about.
Right.
It wasn't Austin. It was 2002. It was The Rock.
Yeah.
It was a return. He came in. He chokeslammed everyone in the ring,
Yes.
including Kane. And then Rock literally lays the smackdown, hits him with those punches and clotheslines him out.
Yeah.
And then he drags the Rock outside and puts him through a table, and the Rock baths it for the rest of the match until he gets back in later, doesn't he?
Yeah, but it's the fact that...
But he was, for the big return...
The Big Show, he killed all the way out, knocked right back out again. And I'm looking at Big Show as he's walking out, and I'm thinking, I know, you know, I've just made the joke that he's driven with Jericho. So is he now walking behind the camera like, oh, that's my spot then, I'll go have a shower now and a sandwich and just sit back and watch the guys.
I guess a guy with the experience of Big Show as well, even at the time, must have been like, business as usual.
Also as well...
You asked me that earlier, and you remember I said to you, sort of like, well, in a way, it could be, you could look at it another way, because it's still what they do for a living, right? Now, everyone wants to be told, you're winning the Royal Rumble this year, kid, you know, you're going to go on to WrestleMania, but that's like, if I walked into work on Monday, and my boss was sort of like, tell you what, can you just check this one thing for me? And I'm like, yeah, sure, alright, there, that's done. He's like, yeah, do you know what? You can go home. I'd be like, this is the best fucking working day ever.
And I get paid the whole day.
Awesome. I was like, yeah, am I still getting paid? Yeah. Peace.
I mean, it's like, you know, I'm just chucking it out there. I'm Butch from the Bushwhackers. His elimination. He fucking walks all the way down to the ring, gets up, and then
it's the fact he does the same walk as soon as he's out of the ring.
And he walks all the way back, and you're watching him like, yeah, he's just gonna go back and just eat a sandwich. Does he care that he's not going on the headline WrestleMania? You know,
I always wonder about, like, because like
a lot of wrestlers are paid jobs.
Yeah, they know where they are on the card, don't they? I mean, I suppose like the it must be interesting as well, like for some of them when they're in the ring and they hear music hit, and if they're told, like, at the end of the day, if you're told when someone comes in, make a big deal of it and take, you know, feed them and take their moves. So they must be sat there thinking, like, you know, bang, music. And we were saying about, like, it must be like Sheamus's music goes off. You're in the corner grappling someone. As soon as you hear that music, you're like, I'm about to get kicked in the face. In 10 seconds, he's going to kick me in the face. And I've got to prepare myself.
Right. Psych yourself up.
You hear like a boom. And you're like, someone just got kicked in the face. Time to turn around.
And you're holding the guy in the corner like, am I turning around or you?
You must be like holding it going, hey man, why don't you reverse this? And he's like, no, why don't you turn around and get kicked in the face?
I'm getting
up and throw him into him. Like, no.
Yeah. Fuck you and your Irish whip. Turn around, you prick.
But then you always have the characters that when somebody new comes in just dives underneath the ropes and just starts running away until more people come down.
Boogeyman.
See, now I always did say that, I always, before I learned the ins and outs of wrestling and the history and all that kind of stuff, when I was younger, looking at it, I was just like, why didn't they just jump out the bottom of the rope and wait?
Right,
Well,
Jerry
Lawler
the cowardly ones
Jerry
did it.
Lawler did it. He hid
X-Pac
under
did
the
it.
ring.
Jericho
Road Dogg
does
did
it.
Yeah, McMahon did. But for me, before you realise that, obviously, yes, it's all. What's it? Goldberg says it's predetermined. It's not fake. It's predetermined because it's predetermined. We know that that's not going to happen. But your mind just says to you, just climb out, just run around the arena. Just
But
hide.
it's just bad play, isn't it?
I always used, when I was a kid, I used to watch normal matches, and people would be thrown over the top rope all the time, and I'm like, why is it so fucking hard to do in the Rumble? Fucking chuck them over the top rope all the time.
People literally they hold on longer. They know they're not out of the match if they go over in a normal.
Something as well that I've grown to love in the last few years of the Royal Rumble, especially, is the Kofi Kingston spot.
Yes.
So
yes.
I mean, it started with John Morrison, didn't it? We were talking about it where John Morrison was thrown over the top rope. He landed on the apron of the ring and got sort of like kicked or hit, and instead of just falling to the floor, because the rules are, if you don't know, both feet have to touch the floor.
Touch the floor,
over the over the top rope. He jumped from the apron to the outside barricade without touching the floor,
which is a good
climbed
one.
back up,
5-6 feet,
if not maybe a bit more. Yeah, it's got to be at least that. Jumped, landed on the barricade, climbed onto the barricade, and parked door his way around to sort of jump back into the fucking ring.
Yeah.
And then following on from that, because he left the company or whatever, he got fired. I can't remember what happened, but he left the company. And since then, Kofi Kingston has sort of taken over the mantle of doing the ridiculous Rumble spot. And so we've had the handstand.
Yeah.
Where he thrown over the top. His hands are on the floor and his legs are on the rope. And then the Miz pushes him.
Yeah, and he
held himself. Didn't he? In a
handstand walks all the way back to the steps and then
lands on the steps. So the ref's right. His feet never touch the floor.
His feet never touch the ground.
Of course he did.
He got thrown over and then he lands onto the
commentator.
Jumps onto the commentator's table. Then I didn't understand why he didn't
chair.
walk. Yeah, he stole JBL's chair and hops the chair back.
This is a great spot.
Back to the ring.
The rosebuds as well. Rosebuds. He got thrown over and they crowd surfed him.
Landed
back
on
into the
a
ring
crew.
as well.
Yeah, and they just threw him back in.
Shit like that just makes me smile.
And it's amazing that those things have happened from just something as simple as Shawn Michaels going over the top rope and his feet not touching the floor.
Yeah, I mean that's where it all stemmed, wasn't it? Because he got thrown over and one foot touched.
Yeah,
I was just about to say there's a Royal Rumble that's always stuck in my mind, and it's where somebody won.
Yeah.
But the other person went over the ropes and you never got to see their feet touch the floor from that camera angle. They just called it. Well, I can remember, was it The Rock?
You got two of them.
Well, there's a few of them, actually.
Bret Hart and Lex Luger.
Well, it started with Michaels, didn't it? Really? It did. British Bulldog and Raw and Michaels. They started it and they finished it. He throws him over the top rope, and you probably think it's on the hard cam side, which it was
only in Raw. You're looking at the other angle.
That was the Big Show.
That was Big Show.
That was Big Show. Right. Yeah.
It starts with Michaels. He's thrown over, and British Bulldog throws him over. He sees him goes over. He's still holding the ropes, and he just walks off and gets in the corner. And his music played and everything, and everyone's like, "Cool." And what they did, which was really clever, is they put the camera on the Bulldog on the ropes, like, and then all of a sudden Michaels comes out of nowhere and just hits him and knocks him over. Then they show the replay where Michaels goes over, he's hanging on the ropes, his legs are flailing, he touches with one foot and then he kicks off and it's called skinning the cat. He rolls back over the top rope, and so he never both feet didn't touch the floor. Then you had a few years later where you had I don't know what year it was, but it was Bret Hart and Lex Luger went over at the same time,
right?
And both their feet, I swear. You can't plan this shit, man. I'm not exaggerating when I say both their feet hit the ground at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Did they go over the same side?
Same side together, and a big spot
together.
went over together.
Wow.
Then you had, the one you're talking about is Big Show and The Rock, where they went over at the same time, and then they picked it up on Raw the next night.
Yeah.
Then there was another one in 2005 where Batista and John Cena went over the top rope together, and it wasn't supposed to happen.
Oh.
And we know this is a shoot, or real as we call it, because Vince McMahon came stomping down to the ring, right? Now, this is, I'm going to laugh, because in hindsight, it's kind of like hilarious, but
Yeah.
it wasn't fucking funny.
Yeah,
at
it
the
wasn't
time,
funny at
dude.
the time.
This was bad because, like, as a wrestling fan as well, I should say you never want to see an injury.
No.
Yeah, even if it's wrestling, like I fucking hate this guy, you know, you never want to see an injury. These guys are putting their bodies on the line
Yes,
for
yeah.
us. For our entertainment. You never want to see anyone get hurt. But Vince McMahon, he's been sat in. When they're calling the matches, they sit in what's called the gorilla position. It's just outside the curtain. When they go back, they're sat there watching monitors, calling spots in headsets and blah, blah, blah. So Vince has been sat there all day. You're in an awkward position, I'm sure, sat on a chair or whatever. This happens not supposed to. Vince McMahon, I've heard, can be an angry man at times.
Yeah.
You know, he's a pretty intense guy for all intents and purposes.
We need to get him on here.
Oh, I'd love it. Oh, my God. If I could ever pick the brains of someone, it'd be that man.
Yeah.
But he comes storming down to the ring. And when he gets in the ring, he stands up for a second and then he just crumples. Like someone shot him.
Damn.
Crumples. What actually happened, you find out. And then, he sits there and just starts
in the
shouting
corner.
at people to restart the match.
Yeah.
In the corner, just go and restart the match. What happened was, because of not warming up properly, and obviously a very big muscular guy, when he got in the ring, he blew both quads at once.
Yeah.
That's the same injury that Triple H had
that put
on
him out.
one.
Yeah.
He blew both quads.
Yeah.
And they had to restart the match, and that will always be like one of my.
It's
like,
just
I
sat
remember
there in the
watching
corner.
it
Such an
live.
odd moment.
Yeah.
Me and a buddy with Steenie, me and Steenie watched it, and we were just like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah,
like, this
'cause
is
you're
the most
watching it
bizarre thing
live.
I've ever seen.
You know, you
and
got-
they can't cover it.
Right, yeah,
He's collapsed in the
Cut
middle of the
commercial.
ring.
Yeah.
Snickers advert, quick.
Yeah.
And he's going, I got to just keep going. So like, restart the match, you know, and
You just sat there watching him sat in this corner.
Yeah,
You know, it
yeah.
must have been the most freakiest
ridiculous
thing.
thing you've ever seen, you know. Like, must have been for him as well, knowing that he's a very like manly man. You know, he's a very much alpha male dude. Must have been the most frustrating time of his life. You know?
And then literally paralysed in the middle of the ring in front of everybody.
I mean, you see him. They get him out of the ring, and he kind of walks back. And listening to interviews again from like Shane McMahon, he said he literally got back and he crumpled again. And like, he's one of those guys where he's like, "No one fucking help me." And he fucking crawls on, probably like,
Dragging his dead legs behind
dragging
him.
his ass. We're gonna finish this fucking show. But that was a crazy one. So there's been a few times with those controversial finishes. But did you want to talk about predictions for this year?
Well, I mean, I've got my list out now. So number one entrant. If you
Wait, sorry, is this predictions or favourites?
yeah, you
Well, the thing is,
what's
this
your-
podcast will be going out after the Rumble.
This is
yeah. So
So
this
in
is
the
your-
comments, people are going to be like, dumbasses.
this is your predictions. Now, obviously, Gary's not completely up to date.
I have no idea
So
who any of the entrants
I'm going to
are
go
or
with
anything.
actual predictions from Andy, and then guesses from Gary.
I mean, I'll give you my prediction. I don't.
Your
I mean, I
your
can't-
number one entrant.
Who I think will be number
Who
one?
you
I
think
mean,
will come in at number one?
You know what? This year's an interesting one, man, because it seems to me that this year there's more potential for like with the way the industry is at the minute, with all these contracts coming up. Like there's talks of people coming over from New Japan. There's like Ricochet who's apparently signed EC3 with TNA going down the chute. It's really. I would love to see like a couple of guys like EC3 or someone else from TNA come and start the Rumble. So they tend to sort of either go with a workhorse guy for like number one who's going to be the Iron Man, like Chris Jericho, who's going to go all the way
Mine
through
was
it.
going to be Finn Balor for number one.
Do you know what? I would say that's probably a good shout. Is someone who they're like he's not gonna
athletic
win.
and he can
He's not
last
gonna
for a
win,
bit. No.
but he can prove himself in the Rumble by being the Iron Man. I would say that is a fair assumption to say Finn Balor. I would go with as well. Yeah.
No number one entrant guy, if you could pick one. Yeah.
Triple H.
Cheers,
Triple
guys.
H.
Yeah, Triple H. Just gonna say
Triple
Triple H.
Yeah.
29th entrant. Who would you like to
29th
come
is
in for the
always
29th for this
is
one?
an interesting one because everyone's anticipating the big surprise for for number 30, aren't they? I mean, like my favorite was Undertaker when he he came in to do the 2017 Royal Rumble, and obviously it built up to him and Roman Reigns. So it's hard to call 29 over like 30 and stuff like that.
Is
I mean, when
Brock
you say
Lesnar
29,
Yeah, he's holding the
Universal
championship.
Champion, so-
He's facing Braun
29 is
Strowman
kind
and
of
Kane.
I think
Right,
isn't
you did
27
say.
the magic number where more people win from 27. 29, if it depends on if they're gonna do no surprise for number 30.
Yeah.
If 29 is gonna be the magic number, I mean, like
Go on.
I've got two massively outside ones. And
Okay.
It kind of comes in for 29 and 30.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, well, I'll be doing 30 entrant, but who 29?
alright,
Who's 29?
I'm gonna say Batista.
Nice. I was going to go with Bray Wyatt.
Maybe I think he'll be late. In the game.
I think
maybe.
he'll be late coming in.
Yeah.
Number 30 entrant. For me, number 30,
It's got to be a fucking.
it would have to be a surprise, and I would be it would shock me if Daniel Bryan pushed himself into it.
I was thinking Daniel Bryan was the other guy I was going to say about. That's who I was going
I want to say Triple H, but then at the same time, I don't want to see Triple H do any more and
Triple
force himself
H's
into
match
injury.
at WrestleMania, because he's going to have one, is going to be Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Now, Braun Strowman was my other surprise 30th if he doesn't win the title.
Oh,
because we've had that before, so maybe Braun Strowman comes in.
See, now Braun Strowman's a good one, because if they play
the
it right...
You know, the other one as well is because who's going into the Hall of Fame as the headliner?
Goldberg. Yeah, true. I'd say now Braun Strowman would be a good one, because, you know, we've had it before in the past where big wrestlers have destroyed an entrant to take their position. So if Braun Strowman going into the championship match loses in a really, say, a clean way,
the other thing to do
but he's still pissed off,
is to troll everyone by putting Roman Reigns in at number 30 again. That'd be amazing. That would be class.
Surprise entrant. Anybody could have.
I'm gonna say. Oh, what if I could pick anyone? Then I'm gonna.
You could pick
say CM Punk or something. But
CM Punk. We're going to CM Punk.
If I'm going realistically, I think we'll see possibly Ricochet.
Yeah.
Possibly EC3. Possibly Jericho, and he's only a surprise entrance because he's working in New Japan at the minute.
See,
I'd like to see some NXT call-ups, obviously.
Yeah, well, I was going to get to that. I mean, I'd like to say Jericho would be a good surprise entrant. Rey Mysterio.
Possibly, yes, he is.
Rey Mysterio
surprise entrant. Yeah, but I don't think they'll.
Yeah, I got nothing.
You got
Triple H.
Triple H.
Yeah, but you might be right.
Yeah.
Right. I know you said the Hall of Fame was Goldberg, but another Hall of Fame entrant.
What, for this year?
Yeah, somebody classic that you know would just turn out.
Jake Roberts.
Nice.
Because he was rumoured to be, the year he went into Hall of Fame, he was possibly going into the Rumble. And that was like, if you watch that documentary with Diamond Dallas Page, The Resurrection of Jake Snake, it's like, gets a phone call from Triple H and he says, we won't have you for the Rumble, we will see you for the Hall of Fame. So maybe Jake Roberts comes in.
See, now,
he's in much better shape now. He could at least go in and take a bump on the top
yeah.
rope, and the nostalgia pop would be phenomenal.
See, the surprise entrant for me would be Taker. Hall of Famer. If he,
are we saying as well? Are we locking in that Undertaker and Cena is a go for WrestleMania as well? Because that's the rumor, isn't it? Yeah,
well, that's the rumor.
That's the one that's never happened.
Yeah, and it's getting this is it. As a wrestling fan, your favorite stars, realistically, they've got to hang them up at some point.
I just want somebody else to be Undertaker now. I like.
Yeah, it should be Wyatt, but
it should be Bray Wyatt, but they've completely fucked it up. Yeah. But that's the thing, that if you just kind of copy the gimmick, it kind of does ruin the original. Yeah. So if Taker just comes out and then gets eliminated, and then loses again at WrestleMania, you're paving the way now for his Hall of Fame entrance.
So what's your actual prediction for the win?
Well, that's my next one. The winner this year. Fuck if it's Roman Reigns again.
Right, I'm going to say this, because Elimination Chamber is a Raw pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That's where I think... Because we know Roman Reigns is going to end up fighting fucking Lesnar at Mania. I reckon he'll get that at the Elimination Chamber.
Now I don't think...
So I think he's going to be a SmackDown guy?
I don't think he will, because he's got the Intercontinental Championship at the moment.
He won't have.
He'll lose that to The Miz, but he's only just started to really establish himself as an Intercontinental champion.
The plan for AJ
and Miz is so much better.
He'll beat Lesnar. But who do you think is going to win?
CM Punk. Triple H.
I'm gonna say Shinsuke Nakamura. That's what, because I want him and AJ at Mania.
Yes, if Shinsuke Nakamura wins it, would AJ be in the Rumble?
No, he's defending his title against Kevin Owens.
That's it. Yes,
that's not to say if he loses, he won't be in it, but still.
Yeah, but that's it. The Royal Rumble is so unpredictable. It's so exciting. I'm fucking slavering at the bit. I've already said to my wife 4 months in advance. WrestleMania is happening on this Sunday. Do not plan anything for me.
Yeah, I think, are we watching it together this year? It looks like I've got the day off work.
So I was going to speak to you about this. If we want to try and keep our wives happy, I was thinking either a sleepover at yours or a sleepover at mine, and we send the wives to the other house and we keep the kids with us, and we fill them up with sugar and let them go mental, and then they can pass out, and then we can fucking, watch it till 1.
That works. I'm cool with that.
So
I'm fine with that. Totally.
Very nice.
So, have we got any more questions to finish off with?
Yeah, we've got a couple of wrestling or sports related questions, and the first one's from M Winslow Phil.
Yeah.
And he says...
Hey, Winslow Phil.
Wait, is it Michael Winslow from Police Academy? Because that'd be fantastic.
and he says, wrestling, eh?
Yeah.
You ever watch NJPW?
New
Japan Pro Wrestling, motherfucker. Wrestle Kingdom
best.
12.
Lucha Underground or any of the indie feds?
Lucha Underground's pretty incredible because of the way that they present it as a show.
Yeah.
As if you're watching Walking Dead.
See, as a wrestling fan, I only ever stick to WWE, but I am in touch with New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, because all the big name stars come up from there. AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura. They've all come.
Did you watch Wrestle Kingdom?
No, I haven't watched it yet, but I did see the highlights of
Kenny Omega
and Jericho match.
Amazing.
Fucking Jericho was amazing.
Marty Skull was the fucking truth.
You know, they earn their stripes in the indie circuit. But then they've got to hit the big time.
Right.
And you can see where
stand out.
The indie circuit is completely different to the WWE. You know, if you're working a business, if you're just doing it for yourself, it's the indie circuit. If it's a business, it's WWE.
A lot of people seem to be very happy on the indies though, like Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes keeps boasting he's made more money on the indie circuit than he has with WWE, which is kind of like, I mean, New Japan Pro Wrestling isn't anywhere near as popular in the States.
Yeah, but
do you know what I mean?
But they do. But they're known when they get to WWE.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's huge pops from like the smart marks as we call ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, you know, someone like that turns up. If fucking Kenny Omega turned up in the Rumble, like the way AJ did, where it was like, I mean, that music that they used, like Reigns was watching the ramp going, who the fuck is that? And the crowd are like, who is that? We don't recognize.
As soon as he came
out
with that
AJ walked out, that roof came off that building.
I was shocked.
Anyone like that.
Because I'd followed AJ Styles' career for quite a while, and I was just like, I want to see him do big. And he disappeared from one company, and then kind of went to Japan. That was it. And then boom, WWE.
Totally,
and you were like, oh fucking hell, they recognise this.
Yeah. Next question is from Jake Adams.
Hey Jake.
What's up, Jake?
Love the show,
The
guys.
snake.
Question. I understand you guys have a fondness for professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Do you guys follow
Put him
any
on.
UFC?
No.
It's brutal and it's a blood sport. I kind of respect them as athletes, but it's the same for boxing with me, where I don't really understand the draw to watch two men actually physically beat the shit out of each other.
I think it's become a parody of itself now as well, really. Like, I gotta admit, like, I used to love boxing as a kid. Fell out of boxing when it just became a little bit of a fucking too much of a show. Like, I've got wrestling for that.
Yeah.
UFC is like, I mean, like, I'm not being funny. I can't fucking stand Conor McGregor. I think he's a prick. I mean, I'm not shitting on the guy's.
I just don't know.
The guy's an athlete. You know,
Yeah.
I've got
That's
utter
it.
respect for them. Like, don't get me wrong. And I ain't gonna get in a fucking cage. Like, I can't do what they do. But I'm just saying, I think it's very disrespectful the way that they go about stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas in wrestling, it's a show. They're supposed to be like that.
It's for the kids.
Yeah.
It's
When
it's
people
for the
say
kids.
wrestling's fake, I'm like, fuck. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
Walking Dead's fake. It's a fucking show.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
it.
just a different kind of show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he says, if no, any other particular sport you guys follow? Keep
Tiddlywinks.
being great, guys.
Big Tiddlywink player.
Uh,
No.
Xbox, sandwich eating.
Is 40k a sport?
Porn?
Porn.
Masturbating?
Yeah.
Sport sometimes?
Sport
Well, if we
wanking.
time each other. Yeah. You know.
No, I don't follow any sport.
I literally, no, dude, sorry.
No.
And so finally, it's from question from Ash Whittingham.
Hey, Ash.
Name your 30 movie characters Royal Rumble match.
Gary's got this.
So
in the
I literally
bag.
just went, right, I need to quickly come up with responses. I'm just going to rattle off the first
He's got
30
rattle.
that come to my head.
Great question, by the way, though. I will
And
say.
so I'm just going to rattle through them
Go.
very quickly. Number 30, Pinhead.
Nice.
The Terminator.
Nice.
Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
Freddy Krueger.
I see where this is
and
going.
Ash.
Yeah,
You know,
I
we
see
get
where
that
this is going.
matchup.
Yeah.
And then I went to Jack Sparrow.
Okay. Right, yeah.
Just imagine him dodging in between everything.
Yeah.
Just imagine
Swinging
him
around.
avoid
Yeah.
everything.
Paul Burchill
He'd
did
be
it,
doing
why
some
not?
Kofi
Pinhead's
Kingston
chains
moments.
are coming in from
Yeah.
the auditorium. We've got Jules Winfield from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Got Tyler Durden.
Right. Okay.
Very good.
Yeah,
dude,
wouldn't he be an
fight.
imaginary character?
It's not the point.
Doesn't matter. He's there.
It's Edward Norton.
Oh, so it's Edward Norton.
Yeah,
Tyler
Edward
Durden.
Norton, right, yeah.
Rocky Balboa's in there.
Okay.
We've got the Suburban Commando. So we've got Hulk Hogan in there.
Wait,
I don't know his name. It's just the Suburban Commando.
Right.
Right, yeah.
wait. Ramsey. Skip Ramsey.
Skip Ramsey?
Ramsey. His surname was Ramsey.
Okay.
Of chucking in Captain Rhodes from Day of the Dead.
Fuck yeah.
Just because I can imagine him being killed in a horrible way, and he'll come up with a
He
new
get
one-liner.
torn apart in the middle of the ring. Rhodes has been eliminated.
Paul Mall Cop.
God, love to see him get fucked up. Yeah, comes in on the Segway.
On the Segway all the way down.
Water Boy. I just had to check
Oh,
Adam
Adam
Sandler.
Win.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Captain Nintendo.
Yeah. How about
I'm chucking in Riddick,
Nice.
Right, yeah.
He'd be a good winner.
Wang Chi, Dennis Dunn, Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Snake Plissken.
Obviously.
Yeah. Nice.
Nada, Roddy Piper.
Yeah. From They Live. Yeah.
I'm chucking in Reggie Bannister.
Nice.
Phantasm. I'm chucking in Mad Max, The Bride, Indiana Jones, John McClane, Wolverine, Yoda,
Wolverine's a winner.
Alice from
John
Resident
McClane.
Evil.
Alice from Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Clearly, John McClane is winning.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Wonder Woman, Neo,
Wonder Woman.
Batman, and Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones.
Fucking Brienne of Tar.
I was stuck between her or the Mountain.
Or Captain Phasma, is it?
Yeah.
That's a fucking epic list.
That's a
dude.
good list. I don't know.
Who do you think would win?
John McClane.
I want to say Ash.
John McClane will win.
Ash would stay out of the way.
Now I have a title
For most
shot.
of it.
Ho, ho, ho. Like, you know.
Yeah, but all I've got in my mind now is Brienne of Tar coming down at number 30. There's like 5 guys left in the ring.
Everyone goes
And she stabs them all.
looking at him, her going, can I hit it?
Yeah. And she just stabs them all and they're all dead and she just puts her hands up, but she doesn't win because they haven't been eliminated because none of their fish
She
touched
just
the floor
throws their
yet.
corpses over the top rope.
No, she just shrugs and walks off.
Class. Fucking brilliant.
Awesome.
What a great question.
That's going to bring us to the end of part 2, but we'll be back with part 3 answering more of your questions.
Don't forget to subscribe to the network.
Only 999.
Welcome back to part 3 of the podcast where we'll be answering your questions.
Yes.
And the first question is from Will Schwarting.
Hey, Will.
What is your guys' top 3 picks for both a movie and a video game soundtracks scores? Thanks again.
Ooh, for game, I'd have to say the Metal Gear Solid soundtrack. And possibly the soundtrack from Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Because, well, I mean, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is so fucking amazing. And it just makes you feel like James Bond. As soon as the music starts, right at the beginning, that just whole opening orchestral fucking Snake Eater soundtrack gets you in. You know, just the little things as well when the alarms go off and the action music sounds and then it all goes quiet and the music actually completely fades out and all you've got is the jungle. But then it starts to come in again when the cut sequence is coming along. It's just...
They know how to play on all the different levels in the Metal Gear range, don't they?
Yeah,
I'll
make it
name
like a film.
I'll name you a fucking movie soundtrack that, as soon as I say it, Gary's going to sing it.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Cannibal Holocaust.
If you've seen the film, you know. You just know.
John Wick's got a pretty fucking badass soundtrack. A lot of Marilyn Manson and stuff on there.
Yeah,
True.
Matrix has got a badass soundtrack.
Yeah, dude. What was the one that Jonathan Davis did? Was it Queen of the Damned? Or was that the one Manson... Like, there was those Dracula 2000. There was 2 fucking...
The Queen of the Damned was the one with a lot of music in it.
Yeah,
Was,
Queen of the Damned had a lot of it. I think Corn and...
Disturbed and...
Yeah,
Any
Manson
Rob
was
Zombie
also...
movies normally got a pretty good soundtrack.
True, yeah. House of a Thousand Corpses.
Fucking-
Fucking game-wise. Red Dead Redemption's got a fucking banging soundtrack.
Red Dead Redemption's one that I've
and
written
all
down.
GTAs, obviously.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
GTAs.
But I also thought
Def Jam,
about scores, the ones that I like to listen to. Sometimes when I'm building games in Divinity or planning
The Dark Knight's got a good
things.
Yeah. Hands
And my other choices that I thought about were things that just are most memorable. That when I'm hearing it, I just want to watch the film, or I can just play the film alongside.
That's how
it.
you know a good fucking soundtrack.
So for the first one that comes to mind, it's influenced from childhood. It's going to be John Williams' score for the Superman theme.
Yep.
It's just so iconic. It's so Superman, and whenever there's a Superman movie without that theme, it's not Superman. It's just not. It's not right. Just doesn't work.
Used it in Justice League, didn't
They
they?
did. When it was in there, I was just like, and people called out the Batman theme that was in there as well.
Of course.
Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
And the thing is also that came out also used a part of the music from the original TV version, which was just haunting to hear it there.
Yeah.
My other choices was See if you can guess the theme from the name, and it's Basil Polderus. And he's done two of my absolute favourite themes in films of all time. And one of them is the one that I hum the most out of all soundtracks. He did the theme for Robocop. As the question was asked, I just went immediately to YouTube and played the Robocop theme, and I was just like, oh man, it's just so epic.
Do you remember, we three of us and a couple of other guys, we used to all rent a house together like years ago, when we were all like, you know, single gentlemen and whatever.
Yeah, younger.
Around the corner from our house was in another street, was a big house on the corner and a big
yes.
a big fence running all the way around it. What was spray painted in foot-high letters
Somebody
on
had
that?
spray painted OCP runs the cops.
Yes!
It was fucking awesome. Because you
was
just
that
walk
what
by
gave
there.
us the decision to move into that house? We were reviewing houses and we were like, win. I get to look at that all day.
I think you came to me and said, I found a house for us to move in, and you won't believe what it says on the fence around the corner. And I'm like, what? OCP runs the
I was
cops.
so excited. We don't even need to see inside.
We're just going in there, you know.
But also, I couldn't choose them between the same musician, between the Robocop theme and the Conan the Barbarian theme. That whole soundtrack, it's just epic.
Yeah.
But also, I went to Hans Zimmer. I loved the music that he did for The Rock.
Yeah.
The one with
Sean
Connery and
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas
Great
Cage.
Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Ed Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for video games...
You know the song Rocket Man? It's you. You're the Rocket Man.
Isn't that the Candyman?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for video games, for memorable soundtracks, I went to Silent Hill. The Silent Hill theme tune and
That
the melodies
first one.
and different parts when it comes in. Final Fantasy, all of them, any of them, any part.
Yeah.
And then, I believe it or not, I came back to a Hans Zimmer again with Crisis 2. That was a badass soundtrack.
Christ, dude, that was the guy in the black light who could go
It was
invisible,
the
wasn't
Vindicator
it?
Assassin.
Yeah, Vindicator Assassin, that's right. With bow and arrow.
Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
Oh.
That main theme
man.
was fucking
It's got
epic.
Fucking, you couldn't get away from that, could you? Everyone was singing that song.
Yes, yeah.
Dun. As soon as you level
That was
up.
it, yeah.
Sounded right.
Yeah.
Portal 2 had a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
And as you said, Red Dead Redemption.
As much as
So
there's a lot
authentic.
of games that I don't play, but a lot of the like Need for Speeds and stuff like that have had pretty well produced soundtracks. as well.
Yeah.
Sorry. One has just actually a game has just smashed into my mind and knocked Metal Gear Solid 3 out the window.
Oh, go on.
Right,
What,
ready?
for soundtrack?
For soundtrack, this game.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, this game. No,
Good answer,
this
though.
game. This game's soundtrack worked so fucking amazingly. When you were knee deep in the dead, you fucking knew it. And that's Doom 2016. It's music.
Really? Yeah.
Because its music is all quiet. You know, when nothing's kicking off and you're on the outskirts of Mars, it's all fucking ghostly and you're kind of thinking that anything's going to be around the corner. And then when it kicks off and the hard rock music starts fucking getting the adrenaline pumping, you're jumping around, shooting the shit out of it. Once it's all dead and it stops, the music completely drops down. Your adrenaline drops with it.
Mad Max Fury Road had an amazing soundtrack, of course, didn't it?
Yeah.
You had the guy, the fucking meth head with the guitar.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And also, I did consider, but didn't actually finalize on any of them, but any John Carpenter soundtrack. I listen to a lot of John Carpenter stuff, or we even use it in as background when we're playing board games.
Yeah.
But maybe Christine, I guess, was one of my favorites. You know, you
As
also
soon as
have
you
the
hear that
thing,
that piercing kind of pew
it's
noise,
just the headlights,
and
it's
yeah,
everything.
then the beat starts coming. You're like, this guy fucking.
I thought
knows.
a fucking terrible movie, but the sequel to Tron, was it Tron Evolution or what?
Yes,
Tron,
that
yeah.
music
Daft
was
Daft
great.
Punk did the entire.
Yes.
I'm not a big Daft
Yeah.
Punk fan, but it set.
Techno. It was the
Yeah,
techno.
Exactly,
was-
like
it was
I'm
perfect.
not,
It was perfect for it.
I mean, I'm not being funny. I mean, I'm never going to fucking listen to any Daft Punk because it's not my kind of stuff. But
No.
It's
for
not
that
bad
movie,
ambient
it was fantastic.
background
Absolutely, it
noise.
was fantastic. Yeah, and it really got me going. Yeah.
All right, next question
question.
from Jack Hawkins.
Hey, Jack.
Jack.
Hey boys, great podcast as always. My question for this week: who are your favourite returns in the history of the Royal Rumble? Sorry, I skipped this one
History
on
of the
the.
Royal Rumble. Mine would have to be Mr. Perfect
Mr.
2002.
Perfect 2002 was
When I saw
pretty
him come
amazing.
out, it was really shocking. I was surprised he was still alive at the time of the Royal Rumble.
To be fair, it wasn't long after that.
No.
I got to that year. I went to a live event in Birmingham, and one of the matches was a mixed tag match, and it was Jerry Lawler and Trish Stratus against, I can't remember who the other female wrestler was, but it's Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
And he wasn't on the card, and I lost my shit.
Nice.
And my mate, who was like, one of them was like, "You alright?" I was like, "Dude, we're about to watch Mr. Perfect wrestle. Do you fucking understand what this means?" Like,
Wrestling Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty fucking incredible. Mine, I'll still say sort of like that John Cena return when he came back at WrestleMania 30. I mean, I like John Cena. He's not one of my favourite wrestlers of all time, but I do like him, but that fucking return.
Yeah.
Or Edge, when Edge came back from injury.
Edge came back from injury.
Number 30.
Yeah.
Come back with that epic beard.
And he just fucking won it.
And just was like, spear,
Yeah, spear.
spear. Crowd chanting along with it. Like, yeah, that was pretty fucking sweet.
Triple H.
Triple H. Yeah, that was a good return. That was a good return when his music
Oh
came.
my god, you had that locked and loaded, the look on your face.
Ready to
That
go.
was amazing.
P.S. I can't believe you hate Guest House Paradiso, Gary.
What?
Yeah, he does.
That's what we said last month on the podcast. And so yeah, while it may...
Did I have the same reaction? Because I
You
must have
did,
screwed
yeah,
that out
you-
of my brain. You
yeah.
hate Guest House Paradiso?
Well, it's not that I hate
Who
it,
asked
it's
this
just that
question?
I was just so utterly disappointed. Jack Hawkins.
Jack Hawkins.
I was just really
I agree with
disappointed
you,
by it.
Jack.
I love Bottom. I love the young ones.
Yeah.
I loved all of the Bottom live shows, but Guest House Paradiso was just subpar to all of that, in my
You
opinion.
really think so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the absolutely fabulous of the time.
Oh, alright,
Yeah.
calm right the fuck down for a start with the fucking comparison.
The jokes are funny, but you have to be wanting to just turn your brain off and just
It
watch
was so
Bottom,
over budgeted.
and
that
not
it just-
try to
Well, okay,
work
but
it out
I mean,
as a
yeah, but
film.
bear in mind, like, we've gone all these years of watching them work with a terrible
Nothing.
budget.
Yeah,
but that's what I loved.
And
it was their...
and what show's so good. I mean, like, if you think about even the live shows,
Yeah.
when it's like, oh, they're going to do a live show, it's like, yeah, they're just going to use the same set.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
Like,
right,
they're just going to say...
They're just going to walk up and down.
They just get to say fucking... Like,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
Fucking cunty bollocks.
Yeah, exactly.
fucking cunty bollocks.
But the no, I liked fucking Guest House Paradiso, man. It's
Yeah.
like the Simon Pegg. You get to see Simon
Yeah.
Pegg. Actually, there's three guys from fucking Shaun of the Dead in that movie because Simon Pegg, Bill Nye, and then his girlfriend is Sean Pegg's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Good time.
So yeah, Jack also says, while it may not necessarily be the best comedy movie of all time, I
yeah.
feel it is a good prequel to Bottom. Prequel, I hear you cry? I believe this is a prequel to Bottom. My reasoning behind this is at the end of Guest House Paradiso, the government whisked Richie and Eddie to a tropical island with a case full of money.
Right.
I like to think the government also gave them new names, and because they are both utterly incompetent, Richie just used his first name as his surname, hence Richard, and Eddie decided to name himself after the leader of the Nazi party, hence
Edward
Eddie
Hitler.
Hitler. I like to think they pissed all that money away and ended up in Hammersmith. Still doesn't explain the chef who looked like Spud Gun, but that's just my
I'm
theory.
starting to think
Let me know what you think.
Did they use different names? In
No,
Guest
they
House
were Rich and Eddie, I think.
Yeah, Richie and Eddie.
Or
I
Richard
know they had
and-
that, but no, I mean like in the
In Bottom.
as in surnames.
They didn't. You didn't.
No, it
you
was
didn't-
Richard.
You
not
didn't.
Eddie.
You didn't
Yeah.
actually get the surnames, but
The
you
only
know.
thing I would say to that, and I know that's not the rule of prequels because of they make prequels,
Yeah.
but they were older.
You can-
Yeah.
They looked older, so
You can make your own head canon if you want to for Bottom.
See,
because I like to think they lived happily ever after on that island.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what if it's a prequel in the way of the live show?
That's what I was
They
gonna
weren't
say.
stranded. They just poisoned and killed everyone on that island with their bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They poisoned and killed everybody, and then they had to hide somewhere, so they
Yeah.
picked Hammersmith.
Maybe.
Next question's from Ava Langren.
Hey, Ava.
Ava,
I love classic films, and I
like Jim Resi
noticed
too.
that you have reviewed a few classics like The Maltese Falcon.
Yes.
My favourite classic actor is Gregory Peck.
Nice.
And my favourite films of his are The Big Country and To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, it's big country.
He lingered, didn't he?
There was a slight
Before he
pause.
said tree, he lingered for a bit.
And To Kill a Mockingbird, amazing film.
Do you have any favourite classic actors or films? As always, keep up the good work.
Mine is James Stewart. I think he is fucking phenomenal. Even though he kind of is the same guy in pretty much all of his films, he's fucking James Stewart. You know.
love It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh man, I love
Yeah.
Harvey more.
Oh, okay.
You know, and then when I got to sit down and review Harvey with this one, and he fucking hated
I was
it.
having a bad day.
He was
and I
having
had
a bad
time,
day,
and
so
I was
I
not
had
in the mood to watch
So I had to
Harvey.
defend Harvey, and it was one of my most favourite moments. You know, because I didn't just sit there and swear my head off. I let him droll on for a bit and then shut him down.
I always loved John Wayne. Grew up watching John Wayne movies with my dad. Like my dad,
the Duke.
It's one of the things we used to fucking connect on was like we sat there watching westerns and stuff like that all the time. Like
True Grit. True Grit is amazing.
You know, so yeah, to the point where it's like it's funny. So I couldn't say a movie because it's almost like John Wayne is John Wayne in all the movies. I watched them all when I was a kid with my dad. It all felt like the same movie to me. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard to like say like I've probably watched like 20 John Wayne movies. Yeah. Other than like saying, well, I know True Grit and Chisholm and stuff, but it's like I couldn't name any of my favourites because they're probably in separate movies, and I think they're all one movie. You know?
Yeah, it's like Clint Eastwood in a way as well.
Yeah,
like the Good Bad and Ugly, all those movies. You sort of like, oh, do you remember in this one when he did that? And it's like, well, that's actually in the other one. It's one fucking movie.
But yeah, I loved Gregory Peck in Moby Dick.
Yes,
I absolutely love that film as well. It's incredible. Still stands up today. I think.
Wasn't he also in Cape Fear, the original?
No, that was Robert Mitchum, wasn't it?
No, Robert Mitchum plays the bad guy. I'm pretty sure it's Gregory Peck.
Oh, plays the lawyer.
Yeah. Man, fucking brutal fucking performances.
But I also quite liked Paul Newman, Cool Hand Luke, 1967, and Slapshot, 1977.
Yeah.
What you were say about Slapshot? I watched The Goon, Last of the Enforcers the other day, the sequel.
I saw Goon. I haven't seen the sequel.
Yeah, man, it's fun.
It's fine.
Yeah, dude, it's funny. It's more of the same.
Is it Sean?
Yeah, all the original cast backs, all the same teams there. Yeah,
nice.
Dude. It's terrible. I don't know his name. Ray Donovan, fucking Sabretooth. He comes back into it, of course. All the sequels, the original bad guy is now the teacher.
Liev Schreiber.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic in it. And there's a young guy in it who was in 22 Jump Street. He's like this fucking hockey and complete psycho. And yeah, dude, it's fun. You should watch it.
Cool. Nice. I also have Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
Papillon, 1973.
Papillon, that's a fucker of a movie.
Yeah. Dustin Hoffman
that
as well.
Ball.
The Towering Inferno, 1974, and The Great Escape, 1963, and The Blob, 1958.
Yeah.
Steve McQueen.
Bullet.
Yeah. I was always so with that one. I know everyone loves it. There was big
car
chase
chases.
sequence.
Car chases are nice. Nice.
Next question's from Andrew. Burr?
Hey Andrew.
Hi Andrew.
Andrew.
Sorry about that.
The second, it's B-U-A. I don't know how you...
Bow.
So Andrew Bow.
Andrew.
Are you going to do a review of Boys in the Hood?
Yes.
You've not reviewed Boys in the Hood yet?
I can't convince this one to do it.
We did Menace to Society. I said, well, let's do one of them for now. That was the question.
You see how hard it is trying to get him to do Scarface or Goodfellas or anything that actually involves, badass gangsters. He's like, no. Oh my god!
Boys in the Hood doesn't involve badass gangsters, really, does it? It's about some boys that they live in the hood. They're kids, aren't they?
It was a slog trying to get him past Menace to Society because I knew your view on.
I'd seen the films a long time ago, and when they were over, I was just like, okay,
yeah.
You just wasn't in a rush to revisit them.
You weren't. I mean, I remember watching them at the time when I was kind of dipping in and out of hip hop. And I was learning rap and stuff like that. And Grand Theft Auto was becoming big with its movie soundtracks. And we tried to convince Gary to watch them at that time, but he was like, nope, if it's not done by Joss Whedon, I'm not watching it.
I remember we'd all be playing Grand Theft Auto and we'd be like, man, this fucking song's amazing. Gary's like, how do I change the channel so Bon Jovi comes on?
But you're looking for the same Bon Jovi song.
Living on a Prayer, that's what I want to shoot people to.
I just think it's funny because you just said the name of what's in the next question, so I'm just going to jump in right now.
Okay.
It's from S.J. Constable.
Hey, Constable.
Who wants to know who the hell is Joss Whedon?
Joss Whedon
it's Joss.
For a start.
Whedon. That's the joke.
Joss Stone.
Yeah, it's not Josh. It's Joss.
I think he's saying that you say Josh Whedon instead of Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
All right. I say it with an S. Josh.
You actually say it with an H.
Yeah, it's Josh.
Fuck y'all.
Because you literally just said his name.
Fucking direct the vein. I'm gonna fucking say it.
I'm sorry.
Wait. You asked this question again, sorry?
It was S.J. Constable.
Okay, sorry, J.S. Constable.
We'll stop saying Josh Whedon.
And like Rob Schneider.
And Rob Schneider.
Where's Dublin again?
Somewhere
In Ireland. It's in Ireland. It's in Ireland. We make mistakes. We're not
you gotta understand is like we drink as this podcast goes on, so by the end of it, like
and well, we drink mainly
the fact
daily.
checker was on holiday. We've just come out. We've
got
got
a
it
fact
around
checker.
New Year's. Yeah,
Gets paid more than I do.
he's getting paid. Next question's from Matthias.
Hey Matthias.
Here's my new question. I've been on a little Hitchcock binge lately, and
Nice.
I don't think you guys have ever talked about any of his films before.
Gary
so I
hates
was
him.
wondering, what are some of your favourites? And literally, I'm not a big Hitchcock fan. Now I know it's
That was
like
just a guess.
it's
I
just
just
it's
wasn't happening.
it's like one of the greatest sins of being a film buff, film nerd, and it's like I don't really.
Yeah,
I- the thing
have
is-
you watched the films though?
I've seen Psycho. I've seen The
Amazing film.
Birds. I've
Amazing
seen
film.
Vertigo. I've seen Rear Window.
Rear Window,
Alright.
39 Steps, North by
alright,
Northwest.
North by
seriousness,
Northwest.
though,
So, but
alright,
I
you've
watched
made your
them
mind
and
up,
I'm
dude,
like,
at least
I
you've watched
appreciate
them.
it. But I think it was kind of at the point where I was being taught film. And I was being blasted with Hitchcock. And
Yeah.
it was like, you will love this masterpiece of
Understand
filmmaking.
it.
Do you
And I'm
feel
like,
that-
I want to go home and watch Aliens again.
Yeah.
Do you feel that? I mean,
know,
and again,
so-
I'm not saying that this is necessarily the fact at all. Don't, for any Hitchcock fans, don't fucking read me on this one. But I'm just saying is, do you ever feel that there's some classic filmmakers that maybe the reason for their success is because of the ideas that they had at the time that they had it?
Yes.
Like Orson
Yeah.
Welles, for example, when he did the War of the
Orson
Worlds,
Welles,
radio
Stanley
broadcast.
Kubrick,
Would
fucking
that work now?
Alfred Hitchcock. These
No.
Because the audience is way
It's
more
it's
fucking
just
sophisticated.
Yeah.
See,
So,
but,
and
yeah,
I'm not saying it at all because I
Yeah.
don't want to get reamed, but like,
Yeah.
there is. I agree that there is an argument to say like, well, maybe some of these ideas are only good at the time, and we kind of,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
you said,
I
appreciate what you're saying
his
that you're
craft.
getting told you would like this. It's like, well, why?
Yeah.
the craft that they do, I mean,
I was also too young to really appreciate
yeah.
how he defined and changed and developed cinema.
Psycho is a brilliant film.
Yeah,
It's-
and also
it's-
completely it changed
You get to
people's
see Anne Casey's
expectations.
Yeah. And his butthole.
Yeah.
That's the remake. We don't talk about the remake.
Well, you just said Psycho, and
Yeah,
I just went straight to a butthole. That's all.
And the fact that I mean, we would do Hitchcock movies. The
We
reason
will, yeah,
is
yeah.
it just they just haven't appeared on the list. The same
No,
reason
never.
why.
But we've mentioned them. We've had clips of them in different reviews.
obviously because we link them to all the different directors that we're seeing who have been
Yeah,
influenced by them.
Hitchcock. Yeah.
You know, we had it with Stanley Kubrick. We haven't
Yeah.
we hadn't touched a single Stanley Kubrick movie
Until Barry Lyndon.
Until we
Yeah.
did Barry Lyndon, and we were still shocked it was a Stanley Kubrick movie because when you talk about that director, you talk about the top three, and then that's it. Same thing with Alfred Hitchcock. Now,
Yeah.
you know, it's like we could talk about The Birds. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but The Birds is a good film. It is a bit long-winded.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we talk about the scenes individually, though, as an experience, the movie is great. You know, but when we get to them, there will probably be bits that Gary just hates on. For
No, I'll
reason.
just
Prepare yourself.
I just
Yeah.
wouldn't be too. I just wouldn't be too enthralled about doing it.
He's
But
got-
I would do it, and I would do. You know,
He personally
Full
hates
into it.
Anthony Perkins.
what?
Really?
He really does.
What?
Yeah.
Who?
He's got
Why-
his own
why
little
would I
shrine
hate
to
Psycho?
Anthony
Oh, okay.
Perkins. Yeah. Cuts his hair. Things like that.
Next question's from Matt Midgley.
Hey, Matt.
Fantastic as always. Thanks for all the hard work. My question for the next podcast is: okay, ready for this one?
Okay.
You have to either shag, marry, or kill.
Fucking love this game. Bring it.
Yeah.
And our females are Ripley, Sarah Connor, and Trinity.
Okay, let's get in a huddle and talk about this.
Yeah, wait.
I've got mine already.
I'm pretty sure this is how Harvey Weinstein got in trouble.
So, this is a hypothetical.
Okay. Just throwing it out there.
Trinity's dying straight away.
Really?
Bang on, kill Trinity.
Kill
Done.
Trinity.
That was my choice too. All right, Sarah Connor.
I'm just alright now
I've
straight
got-
away because alright, this is the problem with the game is instantly if you're married you've got to assume you get to shag him anyway.
See, now you can't kill
So
Sarah
which one of
Connor.
them are you going to get to only
'Cause
have
if you
sex
kill-
with once?
If you kill Sarah Connor, you're going to destroy the human race. So you have to shag Sarah Connor so that she gives birth to Carl Reese.
That's what I put. Shag
Yeah,
Sarah
you
Connor
put
and
Shag,
marry
Sarah
Ripley.
Connor, marry Ripley. Yeah.
I was.
I think we're entitled to dreaming.
I wouldn't marry Ripley.
Why
'cause
did
if
you say really though when I said kill Trinity?
Because, well, Trinity in that leather is pretty nice. But then she does do that crazy shit in Memento, so I wouldn't really trust her like that. And, you know, I've seen her die a couple of times. You just shove your hand in there and take the bullet out. I wouldn't marry Ripley and shag Sarah Connor, because if Ripley finds out, she's going to fuck you up.
You can flip that the other way around.
Yeah.
Well, it
I
depends
think
on...
Sarah Connor beat the shit out of you.
It depends on which Sarah Connor you have. If you have Sarah Connor from the first movie, she's going to
No,
be quite weak.
wait. If you marry Sarah Connor, essentially, then you could possibly get to have sex with her and her twin
Twin
at some
sister.
point.
Yes. Nice.
No, I think this shit through.
Yeah. 2 John Connors. Fuck the Terminators.
See? You're like, a few years of marriage, and I'm like, no, we're spice some shit up. Cool your girl.
But can you imagine? You're going to shag Trinity and she does that fucking crane kick thing, then comes down on top of it. But it's slow bullet time, so it's easier.
Damn.
You just edge it in.
Oh, man. Oh.
Imagine, I'm just imagining what she's dodging in bullet time.
It's going to be like that scene from Kung Pao. Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Next question's from Louise Jones.
Hey, Louise.
Hey, Louise.
Please, could you post the link to the YouTube a Robocop remake again? I can't find it. I said I was going to post it
Our
in the last
Robocop
podcast.
remake,
It's
if you
the
type it
Our
in.
Robocop remake.
Yeah, our.
But I did actually, once I saw that question pop up, then go back to the previous podcast, which is podcast 13, and I put the link in there, what we talked about.
I did watch that all the way through.
I still haven't seen it all the way
Have
through
you not?
yet. No,
Oh, boys,
I was
boys.
just telling Andy before we recorded about the "Can you fly, Bobby" scene.
Bobby, yeah.
Man, I was just like, I need something to watch. I need something to wind down. I still haven't watched it. So I started watching it through. And I had to keep stopping it because I had to go sleep for work and shit. But I was stopping it at specific points.
I've been watching intervals too.
I got to the end and I was like, you know what? I love RoboCop, but that is the best RoboCop movie ever. You know, it's totally better than the remake. It's totally better than RoboCop 3. I could easily just watch our RoboCop remake and then go into RoboCop 2. And I really hope they do the same with RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
And they should do it with, they should do that with a lot of films just because it just
Our Predator remake.
It looks so fun. I mean, when they shoot Murphy, right? And they go into the warehouse.
It's babies. Right? It's toddlers being moved around while the film's audio plays in the background.
That's all the talking. But then the actual shooting with the shotguns is a dance sequence.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
It is a dance number.
And I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but it artistically looked really,
when
really
he's getting
good.
Shot.
This red sheet just appears behind his head, and the guy playing Murphy is looking at the guy playing Clarence Boddicker, and he just kind of looks down as the music dies, and Clarence Boddicker just kind of shakes his head and walks off, and I'm like, oh, he's just shot you in the face. Yeah. Then the medical sequence next after it was just fucking comedy gold. Yeah. It's fucking brilliant.
Nice. Everyone needs to watch that.
Everyone, if you're a fan of RoboCop, you're gonna love it. Absolutely love it. Right, I'm just gonna take a deep breath as I show you.
Whoa, DMC Campbell.
Right.
Jesus, man. Thanks for the question.
The essay.
If there's one in there.
Hi, Gary and Ian. Welcome to 2018. 2 questions for Ian.
He says welcome like he was already here.
Oh,
he does live in New Zealand.
Yeah,
true. Nice.
2 questions for Ian.
Okay, I'm on it.
One, which is based on your last podcast discussion of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
What is your view on the initial story idea for Friday the 13th Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell, which was scrapped about Jason going to LA and taking on 2 rival gangs? Jason would show up and start murdering them. This would force the rival gangs to band together and defeat Jason. Was the story that we did get for this film better or worse?
Better!
Do you remember when Timmy and Jimmy took on the Blunts and the Crips in South Park?
Yes.
That.
Cripple fight. Jason going and fighting 2 rival LA gangs.
Yeah.
Sounds... I'm going to say it sounds stupid at the time because Jason Goes to Hell was late 90s. No, fucking 93, 94, something like that. It was around about an early time where it still itself looks shocking. But you imagine trying to take that low budget that they had anyway and apply it to a large scale neighborhood with Jason. It would be some guy in a Jason suit walking around getting shot by fucking Tech 9s. And bullets bouncing off him. At least in the one that we got,
Debo shows up.
Yeah, Debo.
We're going to my party, homie.
When he comes and punches his head off. But at least in the one that we got, yes, the heart thing was fucking stupid. And then you get him turning into that weird little creature that grows.
All of it was fucking stupid, dude.
Yeah, no, because they go into the house and they find the Necronomicon and the knife from Evil Dead. So there was at least a hint that this existed in the same universe as the Evil Dead, and possibly Jason was a Deadite brought back by his mother. That's how you just kind of theoried that.
Well, that final effect of all the lights and stuff when he's sinking into the sand is very Evil Deadish, isn't it?
Yeah, and the rock hands, or the mud hands that come out.
Yeah, like muddy hands.
But yeah,
fucking Freddy's
gang violence and Jason just he'd kill him all anyway.
Yeah.
Second question. I got this. Rocky. He's lost
Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm trying to find it again. What are some of your favourite movie soundtracks? Two of my favourite film soundtracks are Rocky IV, featuring songs from the 80s band Go West, etc.
Yes!
Yeah.
And the horror movie Shocker, featuring songs from the band Megadeth.
Nice.
Wow, obviously awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
That video. Yeah, I can't remember the song with the video.
See, we did this earlier, but then at the same time when we were talking about it, I was thinking of others.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude, Rocky IV is like one of my gym soundtracks.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Working hard now.
No, but specifically the Rocky IV one,
Yeah,
man, that
yeah.
is like uber cheesy.
Oh, it's the
good.
one where he's the montage after Apollo dies.
chasing the chicken.
Yeah.
What's that song? What's that
Yeah,
song?
ironically,
you
you have
listen to?
two songs. It's Burning Heart and then Hearts on Fire. So they seem
Yeah.
like sequels.
Yeah.
What's the song that he's listening to when he's driving down the tunnel and he's just driving really fast in the car?
Yeah, that's the
There's
one
no
that
easy
just-
way out.
Yeah,
there's
there's
no
that.
easy
That's
way.
a
I'm not
great
proud
song.
that I pulled that out.
Dun,
But like I said,
there's no shortcut home. Fucking.
and you get to get a recap of all the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
It's the best montage.
He needed to
of all
power
time,
up. He
mate.
neted to get all that energy
Yeah,
from
mate.
the other movie.
It was just
Glorious
just
shots
powering
of a
up to go in
Lamborghini.
and tell Adrian he was going to fight again.
Do you know what's got a really good soundtrack,
Well,
bro? Police Academy. It's got a good soundtrack.
It's memorable.
Short Circuit. Batteries not included. I'm just pulling films out of the air.
Yeah,
now.
You are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, question for Gary. Oh God. Are there any Stephen King novel short stories you would like to see translated to the big screen that haven't already been done so? If yes, which ones? I think was Pet Sematary. I don't think was actually. I think that was
No,
made
Pet
for
Sematary
TV.
was a book.
Yeah, it was a book, but I don't think
And
it was
then-
made for the big screen. I think it was made for TV.
Well, it depends on how big you're watching.
I'd like
it
to
on.
see The Stand, maybe.
I'd like to
fuck
see.
it.
I'd like to see him.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Salem's Lot was only made for TV. That could be done.
M-O-O-N.
Cujo was only made for TV,
Do you know what? I was
not
just
for the
about
big
to say
screen.
the one that
Yeah.
short story did about the
Cujo- I
dog,
think
not
Cujo was-
Cujo.
No,
obviously.
it was
Man's Best Friend you're thinking of.
What's that with the dog?
The Rottweiler. Man's Best Friend.
Is it? No.
That was in 93, I'm pretty sure.
Can't remember.
It's the only other one I know. Stephen King. I mean, now with the adaptation of
Cat's
it,
Eyes.
they can. Oh, Cat's Eyes is a brilliant film. Love that fucking troll fight.
Yeah.
Now with the adaptation of it, they can stick more of his work onto the big screen. The directors and the producers have to now understand what they are doing with his work.
Yeah.
You know, they can't just throw it out there and not give it a care.
The thing
like they've
is,
done
a
in the
lot
past.
of King's narratives would take a lot of redefining in order to make it fit the conventions of traditional sellable films.
No. Because all you have to do is set his books. You have to take the time that those books are at and keep it there, so that you know, like with it, you know, it's set in the 80s, is it? The new film?
Yeah.
And the original one was set in the
50s.
late, you know, the 1950s. You know, so they work very well for their time because you see everything in there. If you try to bring Stephen, like if they tried to do The Stand, you would have to update The Stand, you know, and make that virus really fucking threatening. But at the same time, you've got a long ass winter journey, so the film's going to be what?
Could be two
three
parts
films?
again.
You know, don't do the Langoliers.
The
Tommy
Langoliers.
Knockers wasn't bad. I like Tommy Knockers. Jimmy Smits. Gotta love a bit of Jimmy Smits.
There is one series or a book though, The Long Walk. Now,
Yes.
it's such a surprise
Yes.
that one is one of the most famous ones.
And has
That's
never
been
made.
adapted at all.
That has got the
And-
most amazing story.
It's basically, you know, with I was thinking like with the success of films like The Hunger Games and Maze Runner
Yes.
right now, you could easily see this
could easily
coming
do it.
out. And basically, it's a collapsed dystopian America
Yeah.
where economic collapse, society struggling, overpopulation, and so basically young men marathon walk across the country.
Yeah.
But there are rules as well. and if you stop, you get 3 warnings, and if you stop, you've got to keep moving. You just get shot and killed.
Yeah.
You can only eat the food that you're carrying with you. You can't stop to sit and eat, and you just got to keep going. And that's how they're earning money to support their families.
Yeah.
And it's their way of controlling the population.
And it's all televised as well.
It's all televised. Yeah. So it's like, why hasn't this been done yet?
I think the problem they've had with it, because I remember Wiki in it, and it was Richard Bachman.
That's right. That's Stephen King.
And I was like you. I was like, they've done the Running Man.
Yeah.
You know, this would smash the Running Man out of the way.
Yes.
It would be so dark. It was. I've got it in my head of exactly
too.
how
I
you
would see
film
it.
it. You know,
Yeah.
you would just need one camera on the back of a car while you got these guys walking. But at the same time, the story is so dark.
Yes.
And gets darker that you're looking at the road again.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, you that's what you're looking at. So it's like, when can we release this? And at the time, at this moment,
If I was Hollywood, I would get on this like now.
Why?
Like,
Well, why?
Why? Because
Why?
the Maze Runner's last film is about to come out. You know, it's the timing.
No,
It's great.
no,
But
it depends
also
on,
the
like-
source material is fantastic.
no offense to our American fans out there, but at the moment, their president,
What?
right? That's what I'm getting at, because
Give me that spade back before we dig this hole.
right, The Long Walk is based where?
America.
Right.
Yeah.
And their country is a dystopian future where people are forced into a game show to walk across the country and shot if they're not, because they're being controlled by their government.
Okay.
And you want to
Called-
release this film while Donald Trump's
Called
in
The
charge?
Apprentice.
Well, okay, you go right ahead, and you're pissing onto a fire there. You're asking for trouble. I'm just throwing it out there. You know, I don't know Donald Trump personally. He may be a really, really nice guy. But
he's not.
But that's why they won't let John Carpenter make any movies at the moment, because he would have a fucking dystopian America with a fucking shit president. No offense, like I said, I'm just spitballing. You know, being taken down by some eye patch wearing badass motherfucker. You know, that's what I'm saying.
I would like to buy your movie, sir.
Like, no, man.
So yeah, I want to see an adaptation of The Long Walk.
Yes.
Next question's from Jake Sutcliffe.
Hey, Jake.
Really enjoying the podcast, guys. My question for the next podcast is, if the world had a zombie outbreak and you had to choose one of these as your loyal protector, who would you choose?
Right.
Choices are a Terminator, Robocop, or a Predator.
Blatantly a Terminator.
My answer, Terminator.
Yeah, I mean, Terminator is pretty good. He would kill everything, but the Horde would still overrun him. The Robocop would be pretty badass, but he would run out of ammo after a while, and he's pretty slow. So the zombies would fucking get past him.
I mean, to be fair,
Which
Robocop's
Terminator?
a badass against Detroit
I was
criminals.
in Terminator 1, Terminator 2, any
I mean,
army
a
Terminator.
T-800's
I'm
all
saying.
right, but a T-1000 would be better because he would just
Okay,
play it out
wait,
and spin on
motherfucker.
the spot.
The Terminator is the fucking Terminator. It's the T-800. It's Arnie. It's not
yeah,
fucking
it's-
Robert Patrick.
Okay.
Alright.
He didn't say a Terminator. Predator would be pretty good because, I mean, high places, going cloaked. Wouldn't be able to pick up any of the zombies with his thermal vision.
No.
But then his traps would do a lot of damage. And with that fucking blade,
Yeah.
headshots. Because you're mainly aiming for headshots.
Yeah.
Terminator trying
As
to
long
rip
as
him-
everyone's the same height. You know?
That's it. Terminator trying to rip him apart with his bare hands.
We'd have a minigun.
Well, alright, well, if we're just fucking arming him now, Robocop's
Of course we're going to fucking arm him.
Robocop's got his fucking jetpack. Robocop's...
Oh, so we can fly away and leave you.
Robocop's riding Ed 209, mate.
Right, yeah.
Boom, 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 with a predator on his shoulder.
Like Hitler on a T-Rex, just fucking... like,
There's not one...
Damn.
The predator's got his ship and he's just like, I'm not going down there, and blows it up.
one zombie comes out and he's like,
Yeah, he's
don't
like,
do that now!
fuck this.
Wait until there's at least a mob! Dick, throw a fucking spear.
What? Zombie predators. Fuck up.
Well, it's normal. It's just
Still
a
ugly.
zombie.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. If a Terminator's covered in living flesh,
Yeah.
Nope.
the zombies
No.
would eat the
No.
flesh until it's dead.
No, get out.
It's living flesh.
Stop
It's
talking.
living
Yeah, so the flesh will die. but it's-
Robocop would get his bottom half of his face ripped off. Sorry, too deep. Well, I'm going too deep now. Next
I
question.
don't think that was part of the question.
I'm going too deep.
Next question's from KCC85UK.
Hey,
Hey, man.
KCC85UK.
Is this podcast available on iTunes? No,
No.
not yet. We looked into it and we realised that in order to continue to keep uploading onto iTunes, we would need to buy space.
Yes.
In order to allocate
We're
keeping
poor.
them on there, and we can't afford it really.
Yeah,
So-
well, our budget with what we have, obviously through wages and Patreon donations, goes to trying to get better equipment to work with. I mean, Gary does spend an awful amount on coke and hookers,
Yeah,
and I'm constantly
thank you.
telling
Thank you.
him not to. But when he's knee deep in cash, he's not listening. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. So
When he's all powdered up, you just can't talk to him.
he's just on one. He's like, Ian, I've got this idea. And I'm like, calm down, Gary. Just chill. But yeah, most of our money goes on that. And then we looked at iTunes. We looked at all these other places to download them. And I hear it's supposed to be better and easier and all that kind of stuff. But
We'll get to it.
You know,
It's on-
we've
it's
got
on
to
the
get
agenda.
to it.
There's an audience on YouTube already.
Yeah.
So.
yeah.
But yeah, would be the idea that we would still have the video on YouTube, but with a link to the iTunes downloader, or you know, a lot of people do use it.
And then we go live, and travel
Yeah.
the country, and people are paying us thousands. The Queen invites us over.
Well, all right.
We do like a live, yeah, she'd love it. I better.
Have I got to put a shirt on?
You might have to. I definitely need to put pants
I
on.
don't know if I can make it.
Next question's from Julian Topher.
Hey, Julian.
Great podcast as always, guys. I just wanted to gauge your feelings on the upcoming Halloween reboot sequel unknown. I want to be excited, but I've been let down so many times. On a similar note, have you listened to Trent Reznor's remix of the Halloween theme?
That's Trent Reznor. Not
Yeah.
Trent.
Yeah.
Fucking Josh Whedon over there. I did. I saw.
Good call,
I saw this question come up, and I think we said this in the last podcast and the one before when we heard the news, and we heard it was Danny McBride doing the writing for it, but John Carpenter was on board, and so was Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm excited. Danny McBride's starting to grow on me after Alien Covenant, where he actually saved the film. I feel. But
Saved is a strong ass word.
yeah,
Was the prettiest turd in the bowl. I think is a better way to do it.
Well, yeah, but he was definitely better than James Franco.
Well,
James Franco just fucking burnt the scene up.
yeah.
So I'm excited, but obviously I've been burned in the past, so I'm waiting. I'll wiki it
We're
when it comes
prepared
out.
for disappointment,
Yeah.
but excited all the same to see if they can do it.
The
I mean,
tune.
at the end of the day, it's not like you're not gonna watch it. Is it?
Right, exactly.
Well, we're
but
going
whether
to
it'll be any
Hellraiser
good.
Judgment.
Dude, let's not fuck about. They could put out in our lifetime like 20 shit Halloween movies in a row. Mm-hmm. We're gonna watch them all.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, as long as they got John Carpenter now to him, I'll fucking be there. Day one. The song though, I did listen to it. I mean, it's an updated version of the Halloween score. Worked really well, but up to a point. I realized this while listening to the music. When you listen to a John Carpenter soundtrack, halfway through it kind of loops back to what it was starting to sound like at the beginning, and then it kind of fades out. With this one, it was really, really good. And then I'm like, right, this is where the titles would come up and the film would start. But then the song still has like another minute and a half to go, and it gets really heavy. And I'm like, okay, this is where the credits would be. But I'd have turned the film off by this point, and I'm just already, going off. But yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I think he's the singer for 9 Inch Nails, possibly.
Yeah.
Is he Trent Reznor?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yes.
I'll take your
Next
word on it.
question's from
He's been around for a while, dude.
I
next
bet he
question's
is.
from Craig Hall.
Hey, Greg.
Craig.
A cracking year of podcasts and a great start to this year with number 13. Away to go, lads. As for a question, I've recently purchased Elite Dangerous Horizons for my Xbox One and have become hooked on it. As a
Right.
fan of many spacefaring franchises and having enjoyed the original Elite and Frontier on my old Commodore computers.
Wow,
This
that's
game
going
is
back to base.
vast,
Yeah.
beautiful and tremendous fun. Have any of you tried it? And if so, what are your thoughts on it?
I've not fucking heard of it.
I've heard of Elite Dangerous. Right.
It's a vast open world,
Yeah.
open universe.
I'm gonna.
Is it like
obviously-
No Man's Sky, but people are playing it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like Star Citizen, but it's actually a game.
Yes, the people can play. No, yeah, I remember playing.
Well played.
You know, back in the late '90s, I played a lot of like games like Wing Commander. I had other space
Mark
adventure
Hamill,
games and things.
Yeah, Star Fox.
But
Star
I
Trek
played a
DS9.
couple on the Xbox 360. I can't remember what they were called, but I never
Battlestar
finished
Galactica.
them. I got a little bit bored of them, and you know, I kind of, for my sci-fi fix in that genre, I kind of just loved the Mass Effect trilogy. You know, that was I wanted my beginning, middle, and ends. I wanted.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the games, but story-wise,
yeah, of course.
That's what I was going to say as well.
So Star Citizen is the next big thing.
Yeah,
because I looked at EVE Online and I was like, no. And I looked at.
Is that hitting the consoles? Is it EVE Online? Or?
No, it's a PC.
It's been around for years.
It has been, yeah. But
see, now the thing with these games is that you get to live out your dream of being a space pilot, and you go out there and you do your thing. But I'm a realist, and computer games are for starting, playing, and completing.
You don't want to have to commit that kind of time.
It's a permanent commitment.
I don't
until
have that
until you're done.
commitment to it, and I feel that you have two types of people when you have these types of games. You have the people who commit their whole life
because
to
it's
it.
all they want to
That's
play.
all they ever want, and then you have the people who commit for a bit and then go, something new's out, and they move on to something else.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with these two types of people.
No,
but it's just
I don't fall into that category.
I don't fall into that category, and I get frustrated when people force me into a corner and will say to me, you should be playing this game, it's absolutely fucking amazing, it's completely open-ended, there's fucking missions all over the place, there's an online multiplayer fucking universe, you can meet all these people, do all these things, it's absolutely brilliant. And I'm like, you're blown away by the amount of stuff you have to do just to start the game. Then when you start the game, you are now obligated to carry on your life into this, and everything else is put to the side. The games are very nice, and if you find them highly enjoyable, then you are in it to the end.
Yeah.
But like I said, I get frustrated. We've got a friend. Well, I could say it, Jeff. Our friend Jeff has been going on about Star Citizen for like the last fucking
4 years,
4 or 5 years. He's upgraded his computer like 3 or 4 times so that it's ready for it to come out. I mean, I came in tonight.
He was playing downstairs.
That's what he was playing. He's just like, look at it, and it's all looking jumpy. And I'm like, is this out now? And he's like, no,
this is pre-alpha.
Oh, this is pre-alpha. I'm like,
yeah.
By the time this game does come out, it will either have to be absolutely fucking amazing and be the one game that everybody plays for the rest of their lives.
I'm going to be able to live in here from now on.
Or it'll be out for a little bit and it'll be pushed to the sidelines, and only those real dedicated players, like the ones that play EVE Online, who have been in it since the start, will keep it going.
Well, by the look of it, I mean, just seeing what he had downstairs, I mean, people
you
end
can
up
build
living
a second life in it. Literally, and it is and if it does make that dream come true, it is a lot of geek and nerds sci-fi fantasy. You know, it's the next best thing to a holodeck. Is to be able to just live in a sci-fi universe where
but
things
if you want to
kind of matter for a while.
If you want to be an astronaut, join NASA.
No, but there's a difference between recreationally doing it and doing it, for real.
No, but that's what I was just saying, though. There are those people who take it over the edge of recreational. There is nothing but their life in.
Yeah, I can.
So to answer your question, you've not considered playing it then?
No.
Next question's from Neil Winslow.
Hey Neil.
Question: what is your favourite memory from childhood? And I was like, wow, that's just a pull a question. What are you?
It's just dirty.
Sorry. Yeah, fuck it, I'm going to say it. My mum's vagina. Hello! Hello, world!
What's your favourite memory? You remember that?
Well, yeah.
You have said before you remember being born.
You remember everything.
Got that Mega Drive that one Christmas. I was pretty happy with that, I gotta say.
Yeah. I decided on probably one of my favourites was probably playing Jihad, the Vampire the Masquerade, Vampire the Eternal Struggle card game.
Yeah.
With family. Yeah, growing up playing that game for decades.
No, you're gonna have to leave it at your mum's vagina.
That's it.
No fucking takesies, no back.
Okay. Yeah.
Next question's from Alexander Kirik.
Hey, Alexander.
Hey, man.
Question 1: any foreign language movies scheduled for this year? Well, I am in the process of editing one right now.
Yeah, well,
it might be a little while before it goes up because it's a bit of a an epic.
yeah. I mean,
But they're
on the list. They're always on the list, and they always appear up. They might not go up as frequently as our other cinema requests do, but you know,
we're working through a backlog of Patreon requests, and
there you go, dude. Patreon requested.
Yeah, just hit the Patreon request. Those films will get prioritized, but at the same time, we just sat through a fucking epic foreign language film.
Yeah,
and
blew me away. By the way, it was fantastic.
Yeah. But
this is when you were telling me about on the drive over.
It's like 4 hours long, man.
I nearly honestly, when you were talking about it, I nearly bailed out of the car.
Yeah, I blew your mind with that shit.
I was just like, fuck it.
I mean, those foreign language films, I find sometimes they can be a little bit too artsy.
True, yeah.
You know, especially if you try and take too many of them at once. Like a Kevin Spacey
We've
party.
actually got another one coming up in a few weeks' time as well. Foreign language film.
Nice.
Another one. Second question. Are Linda and Dylan coming back for a review? Maybe a family movie review, the three of you?
Yeah, I had, the wife had seen this message, and we were discussing the different films that we would want to do. And I had this idea of picking the most obscure and un-Gary friendly family movie that he would just be like, I'm not fucking doing that.
That's fine.
Which Adam Sandler movie did you pick?
I don't know yet, because I gotta go right down the whole. I mean, because he might like Tangled.
Oh, I turned that off actually.
He
what?
Yeah, I turned it off. Sorry.
He might.
But you've
really
got to have a dream, Gary.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, just let it go.
I'd rather watch Hellraiser Judgment.
Frozen. I mean, a lot of the films. The wife and I actually were saying this today. We were sat in the front room having our tea, and I was flicking through the channels, and Lord of the Rings: Two Towers started, and so I'm flicking it over because I haven't seen the film in ages. The wife watches it like periodically every 3 months. She sits through all the Lord of the Rings, the movies and the behind the scenes, and I'm like, I haven't seen this in ages because obviously I'm doing all the work. I watched Gandalf fight the Balrog,
right?
And he gets fucking flown down that big hole, and they're having that battle. Absolutely amazing sequence. And I look over at Dylan, and he's eating his pizza, not a care in the world, and you couldn't tell from the look on his face if he was like enjoying every sequence that he was watching, or he was just like, I wish they'd fucking turn this over. And we were saying we should get him to sit down and watch those movies, because if he likes dressing up at the moment, he loves being a soldier, zombies, all that kind of stuff. What would he like to be? Man, dwarf, orc? And I turned to Linda and I was just like, if I can't get him to watch Seven Samurai, you ain't got no luck getting him to watch Lord of the Rings. So yeah, I might try and force him. Maybe House of 1,000 Corpses. I reckon he'll like that.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, The Thing. Could get her to sit down and watch The Thing. Nice family movie.
Watched The Thing.
Yeah, she was like 1, and
she wasn't even 1. She was about 2 weeks old, and 2 a.m. feeding. I'm sat there and I was flicking through the channels, and I was like, Thing came on, and I skipped past it, and then I was like, she can't fucking see. Bang, watched it all the way through. She loved it.
Yeah, that's great. Answer your question. Yeah, I'll try and get them in.
Cool. What do you prefer? A movie adaptation or a TV series adaptation of, for example, one of your favourite books?
Depends on the book, I suppose, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it depends on the budget. I mean, World War Z was fucking shit. So worst adaptation.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you'd have preferred it if they did, say, a series and took their time and built it.
Well, it's like...
No, they could have done the film easy, but they decided not to. The companies decided not to fund it that way and ripped it all apart. And...
Well, I have to say I prefer the Marvel movies to the Marvel TV series.
Agreed.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Same with the DC
I like them, but I'm just saying the movies are...
No, with the
one.
DCs, I prefer their animation.
Watchmen, I thought was a fucking amazing adaptation, apart from the Giants.
Where it's now going to get a TV series. I thought Bates Motel was okay. I thought Scream was awful. Lethal Weapon.
Bates Motel.
I was
going to say Bates Motel. You already know what's going to happen at the end.
Well, yeah.
Shining.
Hannibal was a series. In my eyes, surpassed the movies.
Yes, that was done very well. So I mean, it's definitely both. It just depends on who's making it and
who's done it, who does it better.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Dark Tower. Wait.
Oh my
Just
god.
seeing flukes now. When I
Yeah,
said
he
it.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so just I just felt
It's
that.
a little bit of
His
vomit.
eye just went a little bit, stifled back a fucking vomit then.
Then you notice when we were talking about Stephen King films, Dark Tower did not come up once.
Yeah, I did, yeah. I made a mental note of that.
Next question is from Dean Thompson.
Hey, Dean.
What do you think about the 70s film The Car?
Oh,
Thanks.
Oh.
And I just thought that was funny because that question popped up the day before, the day after you and me had a discussion about The Car.
I love that film. I remember it was on like late one night, Friday night when I was a kid, and I'd staying up watching films, and I flick over and I see this fucking POV shot of this camera coming out of this windscreen, and it's bombing down the fucking road, and it comes across these two cyclists, fucking knocks them off the bridge, comes across some guy who's hitching for a ride, he swears at them, and it comes back and fucking constantly runs them over and go off. It's an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was
Decapitates
there
a
like...
woman! Decapitates a woman by driving through the house.
Yeah. Yeah. It was something that Christine was supposed to have done in her film.
Man, the car kind of demolishes Christine. Christine is such a beautiful film though, but the car...
Nah, it was all the sped up footage that just killed me. Every time
Yeah.
I watched it, I just laughed so much.
I think it's Josh Brolin's dad playing it as well.
I think so. It was somebody
Yeah.
pretty famous.
Something Brolin.
And the final question is from George Lee.
Hey George.
Hi guys, thanks for answering my questions. Here are my questions. Number 1, best cliffhangers in TV.
Yeah.
And number
got
2, best food from childhood you wish you could have now. I know what I want right now, and that would be a bowl of Angel Delight.
Oh man,
Chocolate flavoured.
Oh fuck that shit. Butterscotch.
Ah, fuck
Butterscotch.
No.
Strawberry. Fuck
Strawberry.
Oh man, story. Right, late one night while my family were away and I was home alone for a week when we were doing the Halloween series.
Cool.
I was intoxicated, and I went out into the kitchen and I found in my kitchen the strawberry Angel Delight and the butterscotch Angel Delight.
You mixed them, didn't you?
I poured them into one bowl
Man.
and sealed it. Crumbled digested biscuits on top of it as well.
Fucking gangster.
I had chocolate Angel Delight, and I cut up a Mars bar, chocolate buttons, crunchy bars, and mixed them all into it, and it was
You two are
sickly. It was like a
dessert
paste.
terrorists.
No,
You're both
yes.
like, come at me, bro.
No.
Totally threw two fucking Angel Delights and weren't even the same flavour. Edgy as fuck.
Mate, Angel Delight's not even my favourite food. Do you know what it is? If I could have it now, right?
Yeah.
Stuffed pork roll. A fucking just roll of pork meat with stuffing running right through the middle.
Damn.
Just cook it all up and then just eat it like a camel dick.
Kinder eggs.
Nice.
I know they're around still, but
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I don't
I want
generally
one now,
eat them
yeah.
as an adult. I feel like I shouldn't buy them.
Yeah, but
Toys in
you
them.
get a toy. Yeah, you get
Yeah.
a toy. Love it.
Best cliffhangers in TV.
Yeah, I got this.
I came up with 2 instantly.
Okay.
But,
All right. Okay, I'll go first because I've only got
Go on
one. The sequence in Battlestar Galactica, the end of season 3, where certain members.
just want to show what I wrote down.
Yeah, and this is just when certain crew members that you've been following for the last 3 seasons have now started hearing a song play. And I remember when Gary and I were watching this, and we started watching the whole series together, and we're at this episode, and you can hear this music in the background.
No, that you're on season 4, midpoint.
Okay.
Season 3's new end of where they get to New Caprica.
Oh, wait,
No,
the New Capricorn. Sorry, yeah. So midway point of season 4. Sorry, the crew are listening to certain music, and I'm thinking, I know that song. Where the fuck do I know that song from? And it's really, drawn out and windy, and you echo it, and I'm like, what the fuck? Well, then when they all got together, and it was All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix. It blew my mind. How the fuck were they listening to this in deep space? Why the fuck were they listening to this? How is this even there? And then the camera zooms all the way back up, and you just see the beautiful effect of the base star, Galactica, all this battle going on, and then it just fucking ended.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need more.
Yeah. Fucking Battlestar Galactica.
New
Quite a few
Caprica,
good
though.
cliffhangers, yeah.
Where-
Where it cut to like a year later.
Yeah.
And then everyone had their guard down and the base ships just turned up.
They just were
Galactica
there.
was unprepared to fight and they just fucking
Jumped
legged
out.
it essentially.
They just jump
And
out.
everyone else was just occupied.
Yeah.
Occupy Caprica.
I think Sons of Anarchy did it go 7 seasons? Sons of Anarchy.
I believe so. Yeah.
The end of season 6. Then, if I might be wrong, it might be the other, but basically the penultimate series before the last one, the cliffhanger on that was where you were basically sat there wondering, how do they come back from all this? Like, everything that happened, you were like, there's no way home now. You knew it was going to be the last series because you're like, this can't go on.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best cliffhangers. Obviously, The Walking Dead with the Negan. That was
I wrote that down as well. Walking Dead.
brilliant.
I actually wrote down both season 7's ending, which was the episode where he turns up, cliffhanger, and of course the most recent episode of The Walking Dead where I mentioned earlier.
Do you know what was another good episode as well, where they were underneath the bridge, and and Rick makes the speech. They've just escaped from the farm, I believe. You know? And they're looking.
They're facing the harsh winter.
They're looking at Rick as the leader, and he basically turns to them all and he says,
"We are affected.
Democracy.
What they told
we
me
are
the
the
CDC.
Walking Dead," and it just ends, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
Do you know what was a really good cliffhanger for a series? Was the last episode of Angel.
I wrote that down too.
I'm still waiting on that.
Yeah.
I've got some comics that sort of wrap it up. I'm like, I don't believe
I'm
it.
still waiting. Yeah. I also wrote down Dexter. Dexter had quite a few going through, especially at season 5.
Yes.
When-
The last one was fucking
It's sullied
shit.
by being
Yes.
so fucking dreadful.
Well, I mean, the last episode doesn't cliffhanger, it is its ending.
Yeah, but when
there's always been rumours about it coming back.
when he turns on the
I
light,
fucking hope not.
when he turns on the light and he
dreadful.
finds Rita in the bath.
Yeah, but then that's where it fucking
That's-
died. It
yeah,
just went
yeah.
downhill from there. That
Yeah.
was the worst minute.
Yeah, but that was it. That's where it should have ended. That's where it should have, but they kept bringing it back and bringing it back, and after a while, it started to get shit. Any of the Red Dwarf endings?
Yes, yeah.
Whenever
Some
they
of them
end
have
up with
been
cliffhanger, you're like,
years and years
Well,
and
yeah,
years
the,
before it comes
Well,
back.
if you think about an actual cliffhanger, was it end of season 2 where he makes out like he's passed a chef exam and therefore he's a higher rank than Rimmer?
Yeah.
And then you wait until season 3 and they just sort of like basically go, "Nah, you failed. And you just
Yeah.
faked it." And
Yeah.
it's like, ah.
What about the one where they had the despair squid? And
they
they
get-
end up
they
going
get
flying
blown
off.
up.
But then they come back. Yeah, but they come back and he wakes up from cryo sleep and it turns
back
out
to reality.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
no, he wakes up from cryo sleep and he comes down because they've lost the Red Dwarf because the nano meant to have taken it. Yeah.
Well, you got season 6 when they actually obviously blow Starbuck up, don't they? With their
Yes,
future
with the
selves?
time travel.
Yeah, that's
Come
right.
back
Yeah.
season
That was
7 and he's
fucked
like,
up.
well, because they blew up the time drive as well, so there was no us to go forward in time to come back as them. And oh shit, I broke another camera. Like, stop explaining it.
Matt,
Good fucking pull, man. Red Dwarf for that.
The very most recent episode of Red Dwarf's final moment had me applauding. And
Yeah.
going,
I've not
more,
seen
more,
the latest
more, more, more.
the latest series.
I
actually.
honestly thought the most recent series of Red Dwarf was the poorest of all of the seasons of Red Dwarf ever.
That's saying
But the last episode was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I might just
Like
watch
one
the
of the
last episode then.
best episodes ever of Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
So damn good.
Do you know what's got a harsh bit of a cliffhanger at the moment?
Go on.
House of Cards.
Way to go.
One
Ian.
last Kevin Spacey joking.
on that bomb.
Boom.
Well, I just want to say thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back next month with another podcast.
Yes.
Of course, film reviews on Thursdays, game reviews on Fridays. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Patreon. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take it easy.
Peace out.
Peace.